Alrighty, people, how we living, how we feeling? It's another great day to talk Dynasty football. It is Wednesday, May 21st, where I am. Obviously, Tuesday, May 20th in the US of A. I appreciate you for being here with us. Do me a favor as the stream begins and hit that like button to show some love. What is up, Ferg? Appreciate you for being here. We're actually going to look at your Dynasty team first here. What's up, Zoom? Trade questions get answered every day that we stream. We will go through all the trade questions, right? So if we are streaming, which we stream most days, most weekdays, then your question is going to get answered pretty much same day. But of course, if you guys ever submit a question through the site, you can tell us in the comments if you want it answered before the stream begins. We'd be happy to do that as well. What's up, basketball evaluation, rather? Styles is here. Macy, Dynasty dude. We've got Scribbles, Jacob, Jeb, Shane, Landon's in the building, right? Nick is in the building. We said, what's up, Zoom? Joel says, any thoughts on the Tootin reports? I think it's May, and I think people are looking for something to talk about. This is the Dynasty cycle, isn't it? Every May, right after Dynasty rookie drafts, there's always a report about some player, and inevitably it's going to flip everybody's opinions of that player upside down. Okay, that's my opinion on it. I have a video coming out here very soon about Travis Etienne, and honestly, if you guys want a little preview of that video that's going to come out here soon, I think everybody, how do I say this? The running back that I believe might lead the way this year, no one's talking about in Jacksonville. I'll leave it at that, okay? The running back that I actually think could lead the team in carries, no one is actually talking about for some reason. It's very strange. What's up, Joshua in the building? We've got Evan in the building. TD is here. Badaki will be joining us here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. He is just wrapping up dad duties with little baby Brooklyn, so he'll be here in a second. What's up, Mark in the building? Appreciate you. What's up, G? What's up, Landon? And Chase says, so you have been harping that 26 class is bad, but is there anything good to look forward to position-wise currently? I think it's funny that you asked that, because the first video, well, the next video we will post on our channel is my first ever 2026 Dynasty rookie mock draft, so I'm excited for you guys to see that when it comes out here this week. That should come out your Thursday, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I will say, if the 26 class is going to do a 180 and become a very valuable class, I believe it will be because of the quarterback position. There's about 12 quarterbacks you could put in a box and say, these guys, if they have a certain season, it could really elevate the way we look at the 2026 class. But at the same time, no one has proven a thing either. So it's very much up to the players to decide how valuable that class is going to be. But I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Again, do me a favor, hit that like button and show some love. Subscribe if you like the streams and the content. I appreciate y'all for being here. You guys are great. We are going to go ahead and dive into the reviews for today, the team playbooks for today. As of right now, just so you guys know, this entire stream is going to be dedicated to team playbooks. As of right now, we have 3 live reviews. That is Ferg, that is Frosty Canadian, and Hail to the Commanders, who I love the username there. So if you guys are wanting to get a same-day team playbook, this is a fantastic stream to do so. Obviously, completely up to you, but if you want your team playbook, customized game plan for your offseason, we'll do your review live if you get the live version. Then you get this beautiful game plan to execute. Use the promo code LAND, become an annual Mother Flocker member on the Flock site. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store, and then obviously choose Zach and Badaki and move that slider up if you want it shown on the live stream. You've got to choose that live version right now with the demand we currently have. So if you want a team playbook, it's a fantastic time to become either an annual member or just to submit one a la carte if you're a member of a different promo code. But the great news is if you become an annual member, you get our rookie report, which is an incredible resource on its own. You get the Dynasty playbook, right? So we will review your team. No doubt about it. You can decide whether you want that review to be offline, more of like an article where I custom, like in the back end, I take time out of my day and pretty much write up a review for you of your team with the playbook. Or if you want it live, you can move that tier up to the live tier. It's just a $7 upgrade for annual members. You also get the Dynasty Trade Dial, which is a tool that is only for people who get the playbook, right? And that tool basically tells you when to buy and sell every position based off how valuable they are at different points of the season. It's an incredible resource. You get the trade question voucher, start sit vouchers for in season, our complete rankings, premium tools, databases. You unlock our complete Discord, and of course, you're supporting Padaki and myself. So definitely appreciate y'all for being here with us. The first team we're going to look at here is Ferg, and link is in the chat if you are looking to get a team playbook, and feel free to ask me any questions. But before we get to that, we will answer a trade question, and if you want to submit a trade question on today's show, and you want it, to be showcased on the Flock site, I'll put a link in the chat there. Nightbot's going to give you that link to submit a question. But shout out to Lil KB, who says, would have stacked wide receiver, but running back room is bad contending. I think I understand the question, but it looks like it's a super flex start 11. I know everyone loves Marvin Mims. He does not play any weight in a conversation like this. The question is, would you rather have McCarthy and Genty or Dak and CD? That really is the question, in my opinion. Now, I feel very confident in saying that about 90% of the Dynasty community is going to prefer to have a JJ McCarthy. He's a more valuable asset right now than a Dak Prescott. For example, if you're in your Dynasty rookie drafts, you can send the 108 to the 110 range for Dak, maybe even cheaper. It depends on your league, right? But that's like a general guide. If you sent that for JJ McCarthy, you get laughed out of the chat, okay? It would not happen in pretty much every single league. You're going to have to pipe up a 105, a 104 for JJ McCarthy just because of how young he is, the system that he's a part of, and, obviously us expecting him to take a big step here in year number 2 as a starter. So I think if you are thinking about startup value, Genty and CeeDee Lamb, I don't think there's going to be much difference, if any, between those guys as far as where they're going in a startup. So CeeDee Lamb might be the 111 and Genty might be the 201. That's the reality of the situation. It's really a scrap right now. I don't care if you prefer one over the other, but it's pretty much a scrap at this point. So Najee, the third, Mims, they just don't matter to me in a trade of this type of magnitude. And the real determinator for me here is I very strongly prefer JJ McCarthy over Dak Prescott right now. So I'm going to very strongly suggest to keep the McCarthy and Genty side of this deal. I know that you said that you're contending. I get that. You're in a super flex league, or no, this isn't your team. This is you here. You've got JJ, you've got Tua, you got Stafford. You have enough quarterbacks between Stafford, Tua, and JJ. You can start Stafford and Tua at this point, and you can be totally fine with that quarterback room, and then you can see obviously what a JJ McCarthy can give you. But overall, I don't hate this idea. I don't think it really solves your problem of wanting more opportunities to flex players. Like Najee is not a reliable option. Marvin Mims isn't a reliable option. That third isn't going to do much. I'm very strongly on the Dak Prescott side of this. The JJ McCarthy side of this deal. Now, if you wanted to make it a little bit more interesting as a counter, I think you could probably ask for a DK Metcalf and maybe send a Cedric Tillman. That might make me a little bit more interested in the deal like that. But again, overall, as it's currently constructed, I'm very heavily on the JJ McCarthy side. Appreciate the question. All right, again, appreciate you guys for being here with me. The first team we're going to look at here is Ferg's. Ferg, are you in the building? I did see you at the beginning of the stream. Let me know if you're still here with us, my friend. But you are going to be the first team that we review. And I am just going to need a moment to create a playbook for you offline here. Let's see. Okay, you are 391. Okay, please cooperate, Google. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, Ferg, we were going to review your team yesterday, but we didn't have your sleeper ID. Now we do have your sleeper ID. So what I'm going to do real quick is go to the My Teams feature, or My Teams feature, excuse me. I'm going to add your team just temporarily so I can see your team through the flock site. It looks like your squad, your league name is Terrence Johnson. And let's have a look here. So team name is, it looks like Daniel Bones. Is that right? Is that your team name? Daniel Bones. That's what it seems to be. Ferg says, hell yeah, brother. Love to see it. What's up, P Money? Yes, for a lot of trade questions, we provide a counter. You can ask for that in the question, which I just did for that first trade question you just saw, right? All right, Daniel Bones here. Team 9. It looks like you're ranked 9th in this league when you look at expert consensus. If you were to use my rankings in particular, you are still ranked 9th, so that seems to be relatively true overall. Now, let's read some of this context. You're saying, this is our second year of our Dynasty League. Traded my 26th first for Ricky Pearsall pre-rookie draft. Finished 8th at 7-7 last year. Needed a tight end going in, so I picked up Taylor. Absolutely looking to be competitive this season. Want to make it smart decisions to build a solid roster for years to come. Okay, so Ricky Pearsall for 26th first. Look, as a contender, I think there may have been a different name we could have added. If we, like Ricky Pearsall, we're expecting a breakout. I like Ricky Pearsall a lot, but I'm not sure we are, guaranteed knowing that's going to happen. But it looks like it's a start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a start 8 for offensive purposes. It looks like a 1 quarterback league. I would definitely encourage you, Ferg, to use a My Teams feature and link your teams in the future if you submit any more team playbooks. It just makes your life easier, and it lets us give you the best review possible. It gives us all this information that you can see here, basically, right? But it looks like a start 8. So it is a smaller format, start 8, meat and potatoes type of lineup. And that is good information, obviously, for me to know as I go throughout this review, right? Because your depth isn't going to matter as much in this type of format. Let's say if you were in like a start 11 or something, right? So let's have a look. Again, team name is Daniel Bones. And we are in a start 8. Is there any tight end premium? Can you let me know that? Is there any tight end premium? Ferg, let me know. Let's see. All right. So right now, our starting lineup is Mayfield, Kyron Cook, Amon-Ra Hunter, Taylor. We still need to start 2. And I guess that's going to be Ricky Pearsall. Yeah. Look, I think you guys come to us for honesty and transparency. I'm not sure I would have sent a first-round pick for Ricky given the way your team currently looks. Team isn't bad by any means, but I don't, if I'm sending my future first-round pick, it's because I think I'm like 1 or 2 pieces away from really contending and being one of the favorites in this league. I think adding Ricky Pearsall gave you a better chance at the playoffs for sure. But I mean, if we have look at some of the other teams in this league, I mean, look at this guy's team. He's got an all-star squad there. I don't think you're better than these top 3 teams. You could definitely contend versus Pittsburgh Feelers. Depending on injuries, I'm not sure if you're better than team 5. You have a better running back room than team 6 for sure. Team 7 is a little bit similar to yours, honestly. Struggles with depth, but can make the playoffs. I would say team 8 has a better chance than you. So I know we can't go back and undo anything. I love Ricky Pearsall. I do think he can break out. But given that you are not locked and loaded a top 6 team in this league, there's a chance that you may have given a mid first round pick in the future for Ricky Pearsall. So you're almost giving no room for error for Ricky with a deal like that. But look, not trying to be a downer, just trying to be realistic. I don't think I would have made that move, but there is definitely like a best case scenario here. The best case scenario is like Tootin takes over the job and Tracy is more relevant than we think with Scat there. Pittman recovers and Keon breaks out and Shaheed is still great like he was last year, and Mason Taylor is productive from day one. But you have plenty of holes on this roster, my friend, right? Outside of your top 2 running backs, there's no guarantee that you can rely on anyone. So even if you have one injury, we're not sure exactly what we're going to be doing. We believe Travis Hunter is going to be reliable, but most rookie wide receivers, we can't promise that. I mean, even think about what Marvin Harrison did last year, right? He was decent, but he wasn't like a league winner. And this is your wide receiver 2. Your wide receiver 3 is a guy we're expecting to break out. Your 4 is a name that we really don't know what our expectations should be, right? And we don't have a tight end that we can truly rely on right now. So full transparency, full honesty. Well, we're going to have to try and turn this into a contender now that we don't have our 2026 first round pick. I'll call this a Windows open roster, but just maybe not exactly the move I would have made. Ferg says, "Nah, you're good. Only been doing fantasy for 3 years, so I have a lot to learn. Appreciate the honesty." Okay, that's great. I'm glad.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Come on.
And not everybody loves that kind of honesty, but let's get Daniel Kuku Badaki into the stream here. Welcome in, brother.
Sorry, guys. I am a little bit late, but we are here. Shout out to you. I think Flern, who we are doing. Is it Flern?
Ferg, yeah. Let me get this all right, but welcome. Let's get some welcome Badakis in the chat here.
Hello.
All right, let's keep looking at. So yeah, overall, were you listening on the back end by chance?
I was not, kind of just got in, but the first thing I heard was Windows open.
Yep, we're gonna go Windows open.
Pick up everything else.
He has a sleeper ID in the back end if you want to load it in to keep trade cut for yourself. But yeah, overall, look, again, honesty is important. I wouldn't have sent my 26th first round pick for Ricky Pearsall. I don't think your team was in a position to really do that. But now that we are in that position, we're going to have to go Windows open, and we're going to have to try and compete with this roster. The difficult part is if someone was normally in this position, I would say, all right, who's that one guy in your team that you can tear down from? Man, I don't know. Maybe it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had more tear down power last year, oddly enough. But I don't even know if we can really have an effective tear down for an Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, again, not trying to be Mr. Negative Nancy or anything, but just trying to be realistic here. Why don't you go ahead and write down the untouchable? You don't really have an untouchable, I'll be honest with you. There's not really an untouchable on this team. As far as holds, we're definitely going to hold Ricky Pearsall off of trading a first for him. Do not trade Tootin while people are freaking out about it. It's honestly not worth your time to do so. We have to hold Mason Taylor. He's the only guy that has any sniff of being a starting tight end for us on this team. And then I would also say Keon Coleman's a strong hold. You just have a lot of guys that just, people either don't want to trade for, or they were underwhelming, or they're just unproven. So
yeah.
As far as drops, if you wanted to drop a player, it would probably be Romeo Dobbs and I don't know, like Cole Kmet. I honestly don't see a reason to hold on to Cole Kmet at this point. Like, full transparency, I would drop him and sleep like a baby. On your waiver wire, there's definitely some names that I like. I think Cedric Tillman should definitely be rostered in every league. He's the easy wide receiver 2 in Cleveland. Easily, even with Deontay Johnson there, in my opinion. You've got Jarquez Hunter, who's a running back that I would definitely roster. You've actually got a really vibrant
yeah, it's not bad
waiver wire. There's a lot of great options here. I would even consider, like, with your tight end room,
Pat Bryant as well.
Yeah, with your tight end room, Sanders should be rostered over Kmet and Theo, in my opinion. So yeah, overall team grade. Look, honesty is important. This is probably like a B- roster, and maybe I feel I'm being generous, but B-. Windows open. Draft capital grade is more of a C+. I mean, you don't have your first, right? So not exactly, something to write home about. honestly, B minus feels pretty generous. I do think it is like C plus, if I'm honest with you. But okay. And again, feel free to jump in at any point, Ferg. And I know that you're like, hey, I appreciate the honesty, but I don't want it to come off as like, you know, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want it to come off as, you know, I'm not trying to tear you down at all. Hopefully that it makes sense, basically what I'm trying to say. All right.
You're just a terrible person. I just hope you know that. That's basically what he's trying to say.
I do like the Mason Taylor ad, though. I think that's 200 IQ. I don't know if we had any part to play in that with the video that I released on him. I did release a video on Mason Taylor talking about how, you know, he was one of my favorite candidates to be a year one producer. So I like that a lot. But you have so many options on the waiver wire, honestly. Like Jarquez Hunter is a name that's rostered in all of our leagues. Same with Woody Marks. You can even go, again, Cedric Tillman. You know, Hollywood Brown is an interesting name because he could be healthy. Pat Bryant is probably more valuable than Hollywood Brown at this point. Roman Wilson. Then you've even got names like Ben Sinnott, which kind of tells me that you'll have a chance if there's like a surprise tight end producer this year, you'll have a chance to pick them up because your waiver wire looks pretty active and enticing. But all right, let's look at your draft. I gave you a C plus grade. Look, when you don't have a first round, when you only have one first round pick, but you have a ton of holes, it's tough to have the best draft possible. But I do love the addition of Hunter. You definitely needed that in your wide receiver room. I like the Mason Taylor ad. Trey Harris is great. And then you've got a bunch of what if quarterbacks. But I do like the draft overall. Your waiver wire, like full transparency, Jarquez, Woody, Pat, these are all guys that I have ranked as like a third round pick in Dynasty rookie draft. So it's great to see that your waiver wire is active and you have some options there.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'll just jump in here. I'm seeing like names like Rashid Shaheed. I wouldn't keep personally.
Oh, really? Even after the year he had last year?
Yeah, I think I would just take a chance on some of these other guys, but I could be completely wrong. But that's kind of me. That's the only other person I would say I would potentially drop to pick up the names that, like Zach kind of mentioned, the Pat Bryans, the Hunters, the Tillmans there.
Komet, Theo, Dobbs are all easy to move on from, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just
then honestly, yeah, no, you should hold on to A-Rich. But all right, so look, full transparency, the only way out of this, in my opinion, is trading Amon-Ra. I just don't see another way. You're not going to tear down from Cook or Williams and get like a huge haul and build out the rest of this roster. Maybe we could trade Travis Hunter.
That's exactly what we're going to say. I think we can trade Travis Hunter, and I'm going to see where he's at in the community right now. Travis Hunter, wide receiver 13 on keep trade cut.
Okay.
Names in the same tier. The AJ Browns, the Garrett Wilsons, the Jackson Smith and Jigbas.
Who is like wide receiver 30 to 35?
Matthew Golden, Terry, Luther, Pickens, Ricky, Ayuk.
Okay, so we need to go like a George Pickens and a starting tight end, ideally. So let's see who has George Pickens. So they have Trey McBride. Damn it. That's not going to happen. All right, let me just have a look through these rosters and let's see what's possible. This guy has Hawkinson as well as Loveland. Could we get like a Hawk? This is such a weird team. I was going to say like Hawk and Marvin, but I don't think that's possible. Obviously,
sorry, JC, not in the same tier, sorry, but in the same vicinity. Jason, wide receiver 12, Hunter, wide receiver 13. Jason is in their own tier on keep trade cut, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, again, that's not our rankings, that's KTC.
Yeah, that's just KTC.
He doesn't really have a wide receiver that you can do this with, unfortunately. I mean, you could, yeah, like, we're not going to trade Hunter for Jacobs and Hawkinson, right? We're not going to do that, but there's no receiver that really is middle of the ground. And you can't get A-Chan, so let me keep looking here. Could you do a... You could probably do a Kittle Terry, but I just don't know. I just don't know if I like that. Man, difficulties here, honestly. Laporta Rice would actually be incredible.
Yeah, not bad.
And I'd be willing to send like your 26 second if that helps
Honestly,
kind of get the job done, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, it goes without saying, but sometimes we have to say it because people don't watch our streams all the time. We can't really guarantee that the offers we're suggesting are going to be accepted, but they're a starting point. They'll get you in the building, and then ideally you can negotiate a deal from there. Like maybe you add a Ray Davis to this deal. I don't know. Like, what is there some combination of players that can get you over the top there? Honestly, I also don't hate this type of move for just Amon-Ra, Rice and Laporta. I am also open to that.
Yeah, look, I don't mind that. Another thing I was thinking of
Maybe
is
you can add Scat, sorry.
Yeah,
And swap
we can do that.
Scat. So you can add like a Ray Davis and add a Scat to that. Maybe that makes it a little bit more worth it. But let's keep looking at options. Sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I was gonna say, once again, just going off these KTC rankings and maybe trying. Look, you'll probably get the most out of Amon-Ra, but we can tear down significantly from Kyron Williams. Then, like, what if we go the veteran route? Like, what if we get like a Derrick Henry plus a young wide receiver, or
I don't
Chuba
know.
Hubbard plus a young wide receiver?
Maybe I don't have the best pulse on this, but I don't think Kyron is a hot name that you can tear down from. Like, I don't think anyone is going to pay up to get Kyron on their team right now.
Sure.
That's my opinion. I don't know if I'm incorrect in that assumption. You guys can let me know in the chat, but
let's look at expert consensus and see where he's at on the Flock Fantasy. Yeah, running back 12 right now on Flock Fantasy, RB 12 on KTC. So the only reason why I say that, because I think he's still within that top 12 tier. I think a lot of people will question Breece Hall or Kyron right now, right? A lot of people would rather have these younger running backs, but like, can we then down tier to the Chuba Hubbards, the Derrick Henrys, the Joe Mixons?
I think in some leagues, like casual leagues, people are going to prefer Derrick Henry over Kyron Williams right now in Dynasty.
Maybe.
I don't know that there has like much power in it, but what about like an AJ Brown, Mark Andrews for Travis Hunter?
AJ Brown, Mark Andrews. I'm okay with that.
Everybody wants to sell AJ Brown.
That actually might be the best one yet.
I don't think you can do. The other idea would have been like Kraft and Henderson, but I don't think that's possible.
So yeah.
Yeah. What about like a T-Mac Connor? Did T-Mac or Hunter go first?
I would imagine Hunter. But I mean, I don't think I've seen Tech go higher than Hunter.
T-Mac went first.
You said T-Mac.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's typically Hunter, but not every league is.
Hunter dropped to the 105.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So you got a pretty good value. That means people probably not valuing him.
If we keep Hunter and we go Amon-Ra, what about moving from Amon-Ra to a Marvin Hawkinson? Some sort of idea that starts there. So Marvin Harrison Jr. plus TJ Hawkinson.
Sure.
I think that's probably the max you could net out of that, but you could try and do like a... I don't know. I was going to say maybe we could find a way to get Josh Jacobs in here. I guess it depends on how much they value Amon-Ra. Like, I guess the only way you could maybe do that is if you add a second and get Josh Jacobs. You can even add a third and get Josh Jacobs, but I think the first one's a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, okay with that as well.
Let's keep looking, though. So we could also go like a Ladd McConkey. You can't get much more on top of Ladd, but you could maybe do like... You can maybe do a Ladd and Pickens, or Ladd and Caleb Johnson.
Ladd and Pickens, Ladd and Caleb Johnson. Yeah, I will do Ladd and Caleb, because I'm not a big George Pickens guy. So I'll be okay with that one.
I got a feeling, dude.
He has a.
I got a feeling George Pickens is gonna go crazy
like
this year, dude. I got a feeling, but I get it. Like, look, maybe Pickens is the worst trade so far that we've suggested, but let's keep looking. We talked about Rice and Laporta. I think we've really gone through your main options here.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, you can't do Olave and Jonnu. That doesn't make any sense. AJ Brown would be worth it, but I don't see the players that make sense. I think those are your main options here, honestly. So whether it's Hunter or it's Amon-Ra, look, and we say this for every team, we're trying to give you as many ideas as possible, but you don't have to make these moves. You can go into the season, start Mayfield, Kyron, Cook, Amon-Ra, Hunter, Taylor, I guess Ricky, Pittman, Coleman or something, and you can just see what players break out. And then you can decide whether you need to add onto the roster or not, or tear down from an Amon-Ra. So don't feel like you have to make these moves, but to be starting a rookie tight end and Mason Taylor as a contender, not exactly the position I think we want to be in.
Yeah. Hey, let us know if you have any last minute questions.
He said, out of those Amon-Ra St. Brown trades, which has the best value? I would probably be most comfortable with the
like
Hawkinson-Jacobs one, as well as the Laporta-Rice one.
Yeah.
The other two are fine options as well, but yeah.
But yes, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please let us know if you have any last minute questions. And you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system. Thank you so much for your support.
We appreciate you big time, man, and I appreciate you replying on the chat so we can get your league ID there as well. But while we're waiting to see if Ferg has any last minute questions, it's a great day to submit your team playbook, get a team review from us, get the playbook from us. You can get that by becoming a promo code LAND, annual Mother Flocker member, annual Mother Flocker on the Flock site. You'll get a voucher that you can submit through the Flock store for a team review with Zach and Badaki. Just make sure that you get that live tier if you want it shown on the stream. For annual members, when you use your voucher, it'll just be a $7 upgrade. And then if you're a member of a different promo code, but you want to get a team review, still a great day to do so, because we only have 2 more reviews currently in the queue. So keep that in mind. Appreciate you big time. Ferg says, any what if guys I could get something out of? Tootin, Giddens, and Smith are on my taxi squad. Like, honestly, every other player on your team, I just don't see you being like, no one wants Michael Pittman. Trey Harris, maybe you could trade Trey Harris for like a Jerry Jeudy if you want to compete this year. But, of course, you want the upside of what Trey Harris could be in that offense, right? So, that's difficult. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I just don't see. Like, no one's paying up for Keon Coleman. No one even wants Cole Kmet. Tootin, Tracy, you might get a late second for them in the future value. Maybe you could turn them into an Aaron Jones. But I would prefer to see what this team can do before I make any moves like that.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man.
What's up, Steven? We might jump into one here later if we have a group that wants to join. Scribbles says, Zach and Badaki, do y'all ever go back and look to your old stuff to see how far graphics and animation have come?
I mean, I think in certain ways, like, for sure. Like, keep in mind,
I love going back to like our first ever video and looking at how terrible it was.
Yeah.
Being like, what the hell were we doing?
Keep in mind, like, Zach and I were both making content, making graphics, editing the videos. At a certain point, like, we were literally doing everything. And now obviously I do most of the graphics and everything that you created, and it was like, not that it was half-assed, but it was more like you only had so much time in the day to kind of script your content, record your content, edit your content, and then I had to make graphics for my content, and not only for my content, for Zach's content, and then Zach will edit his videos, and Zach will make his stuff.
Yeah.
And then not only that, we had to go live stream. Yeah, and then we had to do lives. Then we had to do team reviews. You know, so like, yeah, it's good. I think the move that we made for sure.
Now.
Yeah, 100%.
P Money trade question. If you're talking about a trade question voucher on the Flock site, those never expire. Ferg, I would say rough ballpark. First 6 weeks. Right, in the first 6 weeks, if you're 3-3 or 4-2, let's just chill. But if you're more like a 1-5, 2-4, maybe starting to see what sort of moves you can make. Right.
Yeah, 100%.
Appreciate you, Macy. What's up, Albert? Welcome in.
See you, Spencer. I'm doing good, man. Thank you for asking. Feeling better for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the next team playbook. Again, if you guys want to get one on the stream, today's a great day to get a live same-day review. But the next one is from Frosty Canadian. The rest of these guys are offline playbooks. I've messaged them. Okay. Most of them have recognized that they're fine with an offline playbook. We also have Hail to the Commanders as the other live. So there's only 2 more right now in rotation. So there's definitely room for a same-day review. The next trade question here is from Underdogs. It looks like this is a free trade question they submitted after they became an annual member. They are sending away Travion Henderson and Rome Odunze to get Saquon Barkley and Mark Andrews. Start 11.
It is a tight end premium. What's the premium? That's the bigger question. If this is a full point premium, sure.
By the way, this team already has Colson Loveland.
Yeah, fair. So he has Ashton Genty. Going to trade away Travion Henderson.
I don't think that you have the whoever this is. I don't think you have the wide receiver depth to make a move like this.
P Money says this is my team.
You're basically adding a tight end where you already have Colson Loveland. I know we can't rely on him 11. Right in this year, but you already have Colson Loveland. You already have the idea of an answer there. But then you're creating another problem in a start 11 with your wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean that means
your starting lineup is going to get worse if you make this move, in my opinion.
Yeah, starting up to 6 wide receivers there definitely makes that a little bit more difficult for sure, because you lose your 4th wide receiver there. In that trade.
P Money says that this trade is no longer valid because someone in his league already traded Saquon to a different team. Honestly, I'm glad that didn't work out for you. I'll send you another voucher for a trade question, all right? So you can actually get some value out of it, my friend. But I'm kind of glad that didn't work out for you anyway.
Yeah.
We've got a super message here from Matthew before we get to this next team playbook, by the way.
How you doing, brother?
Matthew? What's up, Bree? He says, at what point do you all decide it's time to leave a league? I have a great team, but there's 0 activity, no trades, no discussions. It's a $75 league. I have like this. How do I say it? Like, I have this just stance that I really don't leave leagues unless I kind of have to. I just don't like the idea of leaving a league. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look,
I think it's because I commish so many that I just really hate the idea of people just bailing after their team didn't work out. Or this is a different scenario though, right? Because he's saying the league isn't active at all whatsoever. You know what I mean?
I think that's it. Like for me, if the league is not active or you're just not having fun in that league, why put up $75? That can be, 3 more leagues of $25 buy-in that if you really wanted to do that, right? Like you could have done something else and then been active, or you can just done another league. So I get what Zach is saying, but at the same time, I think it also depends on where you're at in that league, right? Like, you just feel like it's not going to go anywhere. You've tried so much to try and make change or create the change or spark things, and people are like, nah, I'm still not going to do it. Just get out of there.
The thing is, like, if everybody is paying and you have a good team, and you think you can win, it kind of benefits you that no one's making moves. It kind of benefits you. Like, you have if your team is already very good and you can still win the league and the league safe is all good to go and it's verified, then I think I'll probably stay. But there's not a black and white answer
adrenaline. Yeah, I just think if you're wanting the adrenaline to like get a trade done or just be a little bit more active in this league, not all leagues are like that. You know, our first year of our friends league here in Australia, we probably had so many trades, probably a record amount, probably like over 100 trades in the span of like 2 months. And then the next year, it just went dead. It was like one trade a month. And we were just like, what the hell are we doing? Like, what's wrong with this league? I just think it goes through like seasons or ups and downs, really.
No, just people are little bitches, and they're afraid. They're afraid of me. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, hopefully that's a good answer. Matthew, I appreciate you, man. And look, there's no right or wrong answer there, in my opinion. Zoom, we actually spent about 5 minutes on your question. Guys, just so you know, when you submit a trade question, the website is going to send you a link to exactly the time code of when we answered your question. So Zoom, go to the Flock site. You should have gotten an email when we finished answering the question. Go to the My Reviews tab, and then you should get a direct link to exactly when we answered the question. So for example, what was his team name again when we answered that?
I'm not sure, but I think maybe he was just asking.
It was Little KB, right? It was Little KB. So you see, look, there's a link that was sent to you, and it's a time code to exactly when we actually talked about your question. So go check that out, my friend. You can see right there, you'll get all of my thoughts. And yeah, so hopefully that is helpful.
Yeah, I think he might have been asking like for my opinion, but like Zach said, you can definitely have a look. I think to try not to break up the stream too much there, Zoom. You know, I would definitely lean on what Zach said there, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, basically, do you prefer McCarthy or Dak Prescott? That's the main question in that one.
Oh yeah, well, I guess if you're rebuilding, I would be okay with JJ in being a younger quarterback there. I'm okay either way. I think it's pretty fair. McCarthy and Ashton Genty or Dak and CD. I think that's a wash for me.
All right, I disagree. I think very strongly JJ has far more value in Dynasty, but there's a difference of opinion.
I think that makes sense because he's younger. But like, I think if you're talking about competing right here, right now, I think it's a wash. But if you're talking about the longevity of that player and what you want, I 100% want JJ McCarthy, like Zach is saying. But anyways, I completely understand. Frosty Canadian.
Let's go to Frosty Canadian. Yep.
Thank you so much. Let us know if you're here with us.
There's some context on the back end, by the way.
Yeah, we'll have a look at this team here. No context in the front end, which is totally fine. But this is a 2-quarterback, 12-team start 10, which is the middle ground here.
Very small tight end premium, 0.25, just tiny.
Just a little baby one. Just a tip.
Mm-hmm. Just a tip.
He says, just took over this team this offseason, already traded Devonta Smith for the 112. I'm assuming which was Amika and Buka. Just need to know some trade targets and what to do with this mess of a team, as it is my first Dynasty team. Thanks, love you guys. Hey, appreciate you, Frosty Canadian. All right, let's have a look at this team here. And your team name is Garbo, and you're currently ranked. I don't see it. Oh, you're currently ranked 12th. No, you're 12th.
Oh, because there's a Garbo FF, and then
so there is
M Garbo.
That's what I thought as well.
So he's at the very bottom.
Yeah, M Garbo, and this once again, this is middle ground here. So let's have a look at this team. Super flex. Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Milroe, Kenny Pickett. No QB2 to speak of going into this year, unfortunately. But I have an inkling that Jalen Milroe could see the field. I'm not a big believer of Sam Darnold. I think a lot of success came from his surroundings. That might be a little bit different this year. So I think we can see Jalen Milroe.
I don't feel that way, but let's see.
That I could be completely wrong. I think that could be like a Michael Penix type thing where you see him the last 2, 3, 4 games of the season.
Michael Penix was the first round pick, though.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I'm not talking about like his thing. I'm just talking about when we can see him, like the Michael Penix got onto the field like the last week of the season,
Right.
or not last week, but the last month of the season, kind of. But I get what you're saying. He wasn't a first round pick. Omarion Hampton, Brian Robinson, and really no one else there. Chris Olave. Keep in mind you can start up to 5 wide receivers. Olave, Ayuk, DK, Mbuka, Worthy are your starting 5 with Tesla, and really no one else to speak of. Again, with Jonnu Smith there as well, and you have your 26th first round pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I see why you're last in the rankings. The team isn't very good, full transparency. You've got a starting lineup right now of Trevor Lawrence. You don't have a second quarterback that you can start. People are talking about how this Darnold contract they can get out of. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on this team for at least 2 years. There's not actually an out after this year. I don't know why people are saying there is. The out is in 2027. So
I guess
I just don't understand. His contract is actually extremely cheap for their roster for the next 2 years. I really struggle with the idea that he's going to be moved on from. If anything, maybe 2027 they'll save some money. But I
don't think he'll be moved on from like
narrative people
so
are using.
I guess just to give you background of what my thought process is, I don't think that Sam Darnold is guaranteed to start all 17 or 18 games, even if it wasn't Milroe that was drafted, right? Like, you can put Sam Howell back there. I think they're going to see how successful he is.
I guess I understand that,
like,
but this is why I went back to the draft capital for Jalen Milroe versus Michael Penix. Like, we knew Michael Penix could step in and improve the passing game. There's no doubt in my mind that Sam Darnold is a better passer of the football by miles and miles and miles compared to Jalen Milroe right now. So
I just think that, like,
I just don't think it's gonna happen. But
yeah, and that's totally fine. I think we've seen teams move on from people, and I was wrong last year. And I guess in my perspective, I don't think I would make that mistake, whether it was first round or second round quarterback. I just think.
Well, I think history tells us it's very important to differentiate between those two.
Yeah, but teams will also like to see what they have in a quarterback. Like, if they're not being successful, why wouldn't they just sit Sam Darnold and see what they have with Jalen Milroe in the first 3 games of the season? Like, that's my perspective. That's what I mean by he's not going to be fantasy relevant. He's not going to change your team. He's not going to help your team. But, like, we actually could just see him on the field, which then could bring his value higher going into 26. That's how I see it. And that's how I, for example, I'll take him in FastDrafts, because last 4 or 5 games of the season, hypothetically, with his rushing upside, why not? But anyways.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's not much on this team. Omarion Hampton.
I was going through the starting lineup there. You're probably starting Trevor Lawrence, then Omarion, Brian Robinson, Olave, Ayuk, Jonnu Smith, Metcalf, Egbuka, Worthy, Tesla. I mean, you could probably piece together a starting lineup, but this team, like, there's a very low percentage chance this team has a realistic shot of being a championship winner this year.
Yeah,
I would put it at like a 3%. I just don't see it happening. So, to me, this is a strong 1-year punt, at least. We can move off some of these names at the right time, and then hope that the 26 class gives us another starting quarterback. And yeah, like we'll have to wait and see on that. But Frosty's here, by the way, said just some context, took over this team this offseason trying to start a rebuild. He says, haven't made any moves other than sold Devontae for the 112 being Egbuka. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, that move makes sense as a rebuilder. Overall team grade, I would probably put this at like a, man, it feels like a C.
C, yeah, I'm thinking
C,
like C
flat, C minus.
Yeah, I'm thinking C flat. That's kind of where I'm at. Some admin stuff here. I really don't think there's a hold. Obviously, we can probably just keep your 26 first.
Well,
since we're gonna do a 1-year punt.
Your untouchables are your future first round picks for sure.
Yeah.
Now the holds you could name like Ibuka.
That's what I'm saying.
You could
Untouchable,
add
sorry, you're right.
a, I guess
I'll put
Jalen
Crystal
Milroe,
Lave.
Lave.
Yeah.
And then you could cut so many names: OBJ, Shepard, Bub Memes, Juju, Bourne, Boyd, Zeke, Madison, Locke, DTR, Hooper, Tip, Noah. I imagine you're rostering them because your waiver wire is naked, but you should definitely be picking up like these dart throws like Phil Maffa, for example. He's worth rostering over every name I just said. Phil Maffa, Deontay Thornton Jr. I would also say like Arian Smith, Jamie Horn Jr. There's just no reason to roster those names over those guys we just talked about. By the way, gave you a B on your overall draft grade here. I like the addition of Hampton. I like the addition of Ibuka. Everyone else is kind of a big what if, but those guys seem to be potential foundations of this rebuild. And you've got some great names on the waiver wire. Well, you've got some dart throws on a very deep roster that you can cut a ton of names and just kind of take a dart throw on these guys. Now, I think I wouldn't be opposed to moving Hampton. We'll talk about that because I think you're pretty far off. Brian Robinson, I'd love to move if possible now that he's quote-unquote starter for that team. Ayuk and Metcalf, I honestly think it's probably best to sell them in season because I think they're a little bit undervalued right now.
Yeah.
And maybe you could also put like Brian Robinson into that category. I think Hampton, I believe in him long term. I just think he's already valued at a point where you could probably sell him and kind of spark this rebuild a little bit more, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, I think if like obviously not your fault, Canadian, but like I think if we would have came up with this team and told us that you had the 102 and did a team review before your rookie draft, we probably most likely would have told you to tear back down. You know, tear down, get some more value in this draft, target some key guys like not key guys, but maybe you could have gotten a Cam Ward and
Sure.
RJ Harvey or something like that. But obviously that's neither here or there, just giving you a
Yeah. Why don't we
process.
find some teams that can make sense for a Hampton tier down? Have we done all admin by this point?
Yes, let me just triple check. I think we didn't do draft capital, which I think is just a B flat because he has all of his firsts
Yeah.
and picks in the next 2 years, which is great. Okay. Cool.
So let's go and look at a team that has a young player that we could trade for plus picks. Yeah, no one there. Like a Jackson Dart and 2 firsts or something would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a really great ideal situation for you. But let's keep looking. Like that's the kind of almost like Ibuka would have been a perfect name to trade for, but you already have him, which is great, obviously. But you could also go a Jaden Higgins. That's not enough. That's not enough. Let's keep looking.
Yeah.
I would say you can't get JSN in a first. That's not possible. But you could go like Henderson in a first if that's possible.
Yeah, getting more value in the back.
Right? I mean,
I
you can
think
do
it's
that for
good.
Henderson or Judkins if that's a possibility for you. Obviously, not every league is going to have the same value of a player, so it'll depend on how your league values Hampton. We don't really want to sell him, but I think you need to spark this rebuild. I would even consider like Matthew Golden in 2 firsts. Would prefer Dart just because of the nature of your rebuild. I don't think you get Travis Hunter in a first, but that's also a possibility to explore. Not a lot of young receivers I've seen so far, unfortunately. Okay,
Yeah,
so this is
there's-
perfect. Like a Dunze and 2 firsts would be awesome. Pearsall in 2 firsts, Burden in 2 firsts. Either
Would you want
of
both of
those
those
names.
guys?
Say again.
Rome. Would you want both those guys, Rome and Ricky, and get a first?
Yeah,
Or
that'd
too
be
much, you
great.
think?
I don't know how possible, but I would like that. Yeah, Luther in 2 firsts. We said Ricky in 2 firsts. Adunze. I don't know if you can get 2 firsts along with Adunze, but maybe one. But you mentioned the idea of getting what, Adunze and Ricky?
Yeah, Ricky in Rome, and then a first, or I guess wanting to continue to keep.
And then you can send them like
Getting
Brian
capital.
Robinson or something in this to get it done.
Yeah.
Or even if you did something like this where you got Luther Burden as well, just all that young core. Obviously, again, it depends on how much value people have on a Hampton. We're trying to extract that. You could do the T-Mac in a first. What about the idea of just turning Hampton into Marvin Harrison? Because I think that's really possible in this league with this team.
It is possible. I just think he needs a little bit more. I think I would rather go the route of doing the 2-for-1s. But like,
Yeah.
that's nothing against on Marvin Harrison. Just wanting to get a multiple assets if I personally can.
Yeah, that's fair. I can definitely understand where you're going there. That makes sense. But yeah, I think you can definitely move off of Hampton. And again, you don't need to force any of this. This is just if these offers are available. But for Brian Robinson, I would say an early to mid future second. I also don't mind the idea of moving off of him for like a Bashul Tootin, whatever that could be, a Cam Scattaboo. I don't think many leagues you could do that, but those names. I also don't hate the idea of turning him into like a Jaden Blue plus a second, and then sending Brian Robinson in a third or something.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
DK Metcalf. You already have Olave, don't you?
Yeah, he does. Like trying to pivot off him, maybe get younger.
I would maybe consider like a Roma Dunze there if you can offer like Metcalf and Brian Robinson. Can you turn that into a Dunze, for example? Ayuk, I think you want to sell in season for like a mid-future first when he recovers from that injury. Right now, he's more of a buy than a sell. Yeah. And I think you can get that same price for DK in season as well. But that would be kind of the pathway I would take with a team like this. Definitely a long road ahead, to be honest. There's a reason you are the only team in this league with under 10,000 points of value. But last thing I'll say is I wouldn't really like the 0.25 tight end premium doesn't move me at all.
No, no one should be overvaluing tight ends because it's a tight end premium 0.25. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you should still be getting some of those guys at their value or at their floor. For example, if you wanted to take a swing on like the Dalton Kincaids or the Kyle Pitts of the world, just as a throw on, like you shouldn't be paying more. Like you shouldn't be paying more at all for some of those guys. Yeah, I'm there with you. But appreciate you, Frosty Canadian. I know you were here with us. Please jump in at any point in time if you have any last-minute questions before we move on to the next team review. But you should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system with everything that we drew up here for you today. But one year punt, and it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, you still have great assets that you can kind of manipulate and move around the market. So, but yeah, team's nowhere near ready, and you know that. You said that when you orphaned this team that you were aware. So, yeah, I like it. And appreciate you for being here. He says, another note, by the way, didn't have my original first. I had the 4th pick. Didn't have a 2nd or a 3rd, but I had the 208. 4 and 5 were my original picks. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we will wait to see if Frosty Canadian has any other questions here before we refresh. So we'll still have his league there. But Hail to the Commanders will be the next team that we review. It is a great day to get your team on the stream. We have room for same-day playbooks on today's stream. Right now we have Hail to the Commanders. I did see someone just signed up, but we'll do theirs after this as well. But you can get your team playbook, which is a customized game plan for your offseason. You'll see us doing these reviews. You get the playbook afterwards. You can get that by becoming a promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Just choose Zach and Badaki Fantasyland and make sure you put it up to the live tier if you want it shown on the stream. Otherwise, it will be offline, right? It's only a $7 upgrade for annual members. And it is, you can still buy a playbook if you're a member of a different promo code. You just won't have that voucher that our annual members have. But yeah, let us know if you have any last minute questions there, Frosty Canadian. Maybe we'll go on to the next one and see if anything pops up here.
Yeah. Hail to the Commanders. Thank you so much.
Hail. Come on, baby.
Hail. Come on. You got to hail to them, they say. And let's just get straight into it. All right. This is a 2-quarterback, 12-team start 9, which is our classic meat and potatoes there. I'll put that in the chat there for you guys. So that's kind of our starting lineup, or your starting lineup there. And you are currently ranked 5th out of 12 and a half PPR. He says, not ideal draft capital, but have a 27 first and 4 seconds. Wouldn't mind adding 27 draft capital going for JJ Smith. But in win now mode, I lost in the championship back-to-back years. Curious to hear you guys' thoughts and any moves you'll do. Upgrade quarterback, tier up anywhere else. Big fan of the show. Appreciates you. Thank you so much. All right, let's have a look at this team.
So first off, if we were to rank your league on an aura scale, we'll probably put you at the top. So that's very helpful. Unfortunately, you don't get fantasy points for aura, but just with that team name, I wanted to let you know from an aura scale, you're probably number 1. By the way, Frosty Canadian said, thank you guys for the help. Appreciate it so much. No idea what the previous owner was going for, but I'm excited to build up my first Dynasty team. Just wanted some help starting out. Loving the lives. I love that for you, man. And
hey, man,
if that's your first Dynasty team, last thing I'll say is try and find like a good group that you can get into a startup with, because it's always like I think they both present really fun, different challenges. Orphaning a team is very fun and it's its own challenge, but also creating your own team from scratch is very fun as well. Yes, so team number 5, and let's have a look, shall we, at the draft capital and the team and put it all into a bow.
Put it all into a bow here. Okay. Quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Justin Fields. I think that's a good quarterback room. Not much you have to do there. At the running back position, Achane, CMC, Derrick Henry, Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, which I think is also a good running back room. You can start up to 4 wide receivers. Here's your starting 4: Jefferson, Puka, Jackson, Garrett Wilson, with Cal Riley on the bench with Sam Laporta. Yeah, and you have the 201, the 203. You're in that sweet spot to still get some more impactful players here for your team. I think this is a really good team, actually. With some high upside there.
Yeah, I mean, he lost in the finals last year, but keep in mind, Lawrence was injured, Justin Fields wasn't starting, CMC was injured, if you remember, and somehow he still made the finals. So I think you're going to have a great shot. You're definitely going to make the playoffs this year, and it's just about can we close the deal. But I'm a big fan of this team, no doubt about it. It's only a start 9-2, so you're probably starting Lawrence, Goff, maybe Fields. But then Achane, McCaffrey, then Jefferson, Puka, Laporta. You can only start 2 more names between Henry, JSN, and Garrett Wilson. So you've got a great starting lineup. If there's an injury that occurs, you have the depth to still have a strong starting lineup. And you're going to add to your team, like Badaki said, at the 201 and the 203 there. So I really like the team, honestly. I think this is... when we're talking pathway, a strong contender in my mind. I will put this team grade. You don't have your first next year. That is frustrating, which is actually going to make me go towards Windows Open just without that 26 first. But you are a strong contender already. But yeah, overall team grade, I think I would probably lean like it feels B+ or A- to me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I'm gonna go B+.
Okay.
I'm gonna B+ just because I think there's still a gray area of Trevor Lawrence, even though I do think he's going to be better now with the supporting cast and the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not a big CMC guy, but you have Isaac Guerrero, so I think that's also no excuse either. If he does go down, you have the backup there. So
Yep.
Let's give it a B plus here. Draft capital. Let's just put it at a B minus. Actually, let's do C plus.
Yeah.
Because you don't have your 25 first, nor your 26 first there. Some untouchables: Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua. Some holds: Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, and I'll also put Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields on there just to hold those guys. And then easy drops are Zach Moss and then Rico Dowdle there. So I think this is a great team, man. Really great team. I think we can move on to the chalkboard.
Just quickly, I think Jalen Coker should definitely be rostered. I would send a third for him in a lot of leagues. So if your waiver wire's been open for a while and no one's bid on him, then maybe you can just try and get him for free off the waiver wire. But if your waivers are going to open at some point, I'd be willing to spend about 50% of my fab on him. But again, if your waiver wire is already open throughout the offseason and no one's even thinking about him, just put like $1 fab on him. You can drop Zach Moss, Rico to grab him if you wanted to, but he is definitely like the name that stands out on the waiver wire for me. But yes, let's go to the chalkboard. 201 is actually the perfect position for your team, honestly, because I don't mind if you end up with a dart. I don't mind if you end up with like a golden, or it ends up being Burden at the 203, or RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson. You honestly don't need any of them, and they all could be beneficial to your team long term, as you have a lot of aging veteran names. Does that make sense? So I am very content with whatever name falls to us. If you end up with a Harvey Johnson, great. Well, Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey are getting up there in age. That's perfect, okay? If you end up with an Igbuka or a Matthew Golden, okay, that's also completely fine, because we can add to our wide receiver room. Maybe that makes Garrett Wilson a little bit more expendable if those guys break out to build the rest of our roster. If you end up with a Jackson Dart, we actually don't need Jackson Dart right now, right? We can start Lawrence, Goff, and Fields as our quarterback 3. The reality is we have a guy that can gain value. Like, this is... Look, I don't think Dart is as good of a prospect as Michael Penix was, but this is the name that I was suggesting everyone to kind of stash on their team and aggressively get in the rookie drafts. Michael Penix last year, because there was a chance he could just skyrocket in value. Doesn't mean he's going to break out, but he could skyrocket in value based off where he was drafted and the potential, opportunities available for him in the future. So that's kind of, honestly, like, you're in a situation where no matter what happens here, you're in a great spot.
You're going to benefit. Yeah.
I would say maybe it sounds weird, but worst case scenario is that you end up with a tight end, because you already have Laporta. But still, if you end up with a Warren or a Loveland, you can still keep them on your roster. If they break out, there's going to be plenty of teams in your league that need a tight end that's worthy. So yeah.
And then you can definitely get a whole, like, let's just say you get one of those tight ends and you're just not in love with it, and you want to trade the 201. Maybe trade back, get some more capital, or do something, get another player that you really like from that person's team. So we've seen that happen so many times, where we even seen First go for the 201. I've offered First for the 201 and people don't want it.
Yeah.
So maybe you're one of those people that can get a First. But anyways, either way, I think this is
and I would only really consider a First if it was a team that wasn't like a clear contender as well. Like, you need to do that from a team that you see upside in the pick, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Appreciate that, JB. Says y'all are crushing it with the playbooks. Good breakdowns, enjoyable to watch. We appreciate you guys for being here.
Love, man. Thank you so much.
Be a friend and hit that like button to show some love, guys. Yes, but we could also look at trading the pick for players to contend with now, if should we choose to. So we can look at what it would look like if we traded for a vet. Honestly, I don't really want to, because you already have, like, look, if you had some holes on this roster, we could figure out how to kind of fill them. And yeah, the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm talking myself out of it. I think I would rather add a arsenal of young players with the veterans we already have to compete. So I actually don't even think I really want to consider that. But we have different options here. Like, we could do like a Laporta plus like the 203 Like, could that net us a Trey McBride potentially? You know, you could also use these picks to just tier up at a certain position. Does a Garrett Wilson and a 203, you know, does that land you into the Amon-Ra St. Brown range? In certain leagues, yes. In a lot of leagues, no. Does that have to be the 201? Does that start the conversation? You know, so these are the type of trades you can consider. Do you want to get ahead of the Derrick Henry? Whenever he ends up aging, we don't know when that's going to be. You know, can you send the 203 or the 201 and go from Derrick Henry and turn that into what, like a Breece Hall, for example?
Yeah. Okay with that.
Breece Hall comes to mind. Let me see. Like, let me look at my rankings real fast. I don't really want to go like a Jacobs there. Would rather just keep Henry. Can you end up turning that into a Henderson, a Judkins, a Bucky? Does he already have HN?
He does have HN.
So yeah, like these are the type of deals I think that could make sense if you're gonna move the picks. Just finding a way to improve the roster either from like a longevity perspective or from just a pure upside perspective with the Amon-Ra and the Trey McBride moves. But like, honestly, I look at this team and I don't really see a move that you need to make.
Yeah.
If I had this team, I'm probably just rocking with it into the season and I'm picking my favorite rookies in this class. Like, imagine adding a Luther Burden at the 203 and like an RJ Harvey to this team, or a Jackson Dart, or whoever it ends up being, an Igbuka. I mean, you're not only ready to compete this year, but if some of these guys start to kind of fall off and they reach their peak of the mountain value-wise, then you've got these two young guys that are kind of ready to take their place next year. So I think this is an incredibly well-rounded team with no clear needs. I don't really know that I'm going to make too many moves here outside of if you wanted to get a little more longevity with one of these names. I mean, would you... I don't even want to move JSN. Like, I'm thinking about tearing up from JSN. No. I don't want to. It would...
The only thing that I see, because you're going to continue to refill here, you already have one young running back in HN, and potentially you could be adding one here at the 201. Let's just say we do go Caleb Johnson or RJ Harvey. Is then, all right, how can we guarantee some of these quarterback play? What can I use to tier up from like Trevor Lawrence? Can I go out and get a Bo Nix somehow, some way? Right. But I don't think you have the capital to do that or the players to do that.
Right. Well, what about like T-Law and the 203 for like Bo Nix plus something very small?
Yeah, like we can try that, or Jordan Love or something along those lines. I would personally really like. But
I probably wouldn't do it for Jordan Love. I just think there's a similar range of outcome. But with Bo Nix's rushing appeal, I'm definitely interested. Like a Calvin Ridley, George Pickens swap or something on top.
Yeah. And then once again, you just tiered up. You made your team better.
Maybe you have to do the 201 in that deal. I don't know. But yeah, that's not a bad idea at all either. Yeah. I mean, it's a great team. It's not often we look at a team where like, yeah, this is pretty complete. Like you're ready to compete and you don't really need to make many moves. But if anything, congratulations on building a really nice team and for having the #1 aura in your league. No doubt about it.
Yeah, huge love, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours with everything that we drew up here today customized to your team there. I said that backwards, but you got what I mean. But we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you big time, my friend. And we'll move on to our next team. I think Flimsy Whimsy is someone who submitted a team playbook. Let me just see which one of these were live and which one of these were offline. I know Flimsy Whimsy is live, so we'll do his next. But after Flimsy Whimsy, DC just upgraded actually, so we'll do DC's team. And then if your name is Nick XX Nick, you went offline. Let us know if you're wanting to upgrade that to live. It's just an extra $10 super message on the Flock site. If you go to the Flock store, super message there towards Fantasyland. But obviously no pressure as well. A lot of people prefer the offline, so it just comes down to your preference. So we should actually do DC F's first here because they submitted their team first as well.
Okay, well, I just made a playbook for DCF 808 and Heartbreak.
All right, let's do it.
And Let's have a look at this team here. Hey, thank you so much. Let us know if you're here with us. And this is a 2-quarterback, 12-team start 10. So that's our middle ground there. And I'll put that here in the chat for you. And then let's read this context here. He says, so it doesn't need this to be live. Just finished my startup. I'm assuming you just upgraded, obviously. So appreciate you. Just finished my startup draft. Want to know where I stand within the league and what my direction should be for this year and next, and what I can do to get the most out of this team. Thank you for the grind you guys do for the community. Hey, we appreciate you.
Thank you for supporting us and letting us, kind of do that. We only get to do what we do because of your guys' support constantly. So appreciate you guys.
Los Pikachus.
Pikachus.
Nah. Those Pikachus. Have you seen that guy doing that series where like he's spray painting like Air Force Ones of like Pokemon and like he's styling them all Pokemon?
No, I haven't. But I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon growing up.
Oh, you grew up in one of those family, did you?
Yeah, wasn't allowed.
No.
So never really got into it, unfortunately.
I wasn't allowed to watch like South Park and Simpsons and shit because my parents thought that was
well, South Park makes more sense to me, like to not let your kid watch. But Pokemon is like,
yeah, Pokemon was like, and I get like some people didn't watch like they didn't watch like Harry Potter because they thought it was like all magic and evil and stuff.
No, my parents never put limits on that. For whatever reason, Pokemon, they're like, nah.
Yeah,
but also,
Pokemon.
I don't ever remember showing an interest in it either. So maybe that was. I always grew up as like the kid who was playing like sports games. Like I always bought every Madden, college football game, FIFA. I never really had an interest in like playing Pokemon either. So I don't know.
I wish I was like more into like the I love Pokemon. I love watching it. I wish I was into more of the cards and stuff. Was never really got into it. Loved playing like the Game Boys.
Yeah.
Pokemon Fire Red. I think it's Fire Red, Yellow, Silver. They had Silver and Gold. Like I used to play all of those. I was fucking addicted.
By the way, is it raining where you are?
Yes.
Beautiful day. Absolutely stunning day outside right now.
It must have been beautiful for like the past month for you because all it has been doing is raining.
I am team rain. Okay, let's have a look. It's
currently the rainy season. All right, let's have a look. Yes, Brock Purdy. You're currently ranked first out of 12. Recent startup. Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, good quarterback room there for sure. You don't really have to do anything at the running back position. Kenneth Walker, Trey Benson, Aaron Jones. So really not an RB2. I guess Aaron Jones and Kenneth Walker are your starting running backs there with Jordan Mason, as the backup. So you kind of have that back room fulfilled or sealed. You can start up to 5 wide receivers in this league: Neighbors, Puka, London, Rome, Ricky. And it looks like you've also added Jack Best, Jalen Noel to this team in this rookie draft there, with Brenton Strange there as well. Decent team. I think this is a good team. I'm trying to think.
I agree. If you think about the starting lineup right now, it's probably Purdy, Murray, or Dak, one of those 2 out of the 3, right? Then it's probably Walker, Jones for now. Neighbors, Puka, I guess Strange. And then we can only start 3 more names between London, Adunze, Pearsall. You could potentially flex a Benson if he gets relevant. Mason, Besh, Knoll, Dobbs. It's certainly a good starting lineup. I think the depth is slightly weaker than I would have preferred. And anyway, so it's a good team overall. That wide receiver room is nutty. I like it a lot. I would probably say this leans like a B+ to me.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. B+.
You certainly still have holes on the roster. For example, tight end, running back, just assurance, if that makes sense. Like running backs that that you can rely on. I don't know that you have as many of them as I would prefer. But the fact that you have Mason and Jones is it kind of
assuring.
Makes you feel like, all right, we will cover an RB2 no matter what,
Yeah, I agree.
Untouchables, Neighbors, Puka, Holds.
Yeah, bunch of holds here.
Go ahead, Pearsall, Doomsday, I assume.
I put Mason, Ricky, Strange, Benson. We can use them. We can even put Roma Dunze. Probably put more holds than drops since you just did your starting lineup or your startup. So what we can do, we can definitely add Roma Dunze there, and we'll put one of these rookies in let's just say Jack Besh we can put, since once again we're not going to have any drops and there's no one on the waiver wires that I can see that is worth picking up. I mean, I'd
be pretty comfortable to drop Curtis, by the way, and even Keandre Lambert-Smith if you needed to make space, but he probably just picked him up. Maybe Michael Mayer. He just picked him up because, like, honestly, you probably don't need to drop anyone. You've already cleared waivers post rookie draft, so you might as well just hold where you are at this point.
Yeah, hold. Pathways. This is a contender.
Yeah, we can contend
I would say.
This, for sure.
And
this is a team that I actually might be interested in using my 26 pick to
trying to acquire some
acquire like
picks.
Maybe a running back, a tight end, something like that. I think a team like this in this position has the strength to maybe consider a move like that. But yeah, overall, I definitely like the team. And definitely a strong contender, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think this is a good team as well.
Is there anything that we did not cover before we get into the chalkboard?
That's all in for Adam in there.
Just realizing that we probably didn't have any first round pick in 2025.
No, well, if he did a startup, he drafted the rookies. So like I'm assuming his first 2 picks back to back there was Malik Neighbors. Puka somehow got London. Maybe it's a 3rd round reversal. London fell back to him. Then I would imagine he got somebody else. Like
from a rookie draft perspective, you may not even had a rookie draft. You may have just had them included in the startup, but not the most transformational rookie class you brought in here. A lot of guys that I like though, like Woody Marks, I do like him a lot. Jack Besh is one of my favorite rookies in the entire class. Same with Jalen Knoll. So there certainly is like some upside here with these names, but I wouldn't say the rookie class that you brought in is going to be foundational to your contend.
Sorry, his name's David. I just realized that I didn't pick that up. He says got lucky. Drafted the rookies, got lucky with Drake. So I'm assuming Drake fell to you at the 103. I'm assuming those are your first 3 picks there, which I think is good. Really good.
You mean the 303? What do you like?
Sorry, not the 303. The third round pick in general.
So he must have started Neighbors, Puka,
either
London,
Neighbors, Puka, London. I would imagine he then got
Purdy,
like a
Kyler?
Brock Purdy then. Yeah, Brock Purdy, Kyler.
In most formats,
got Rome.
I think you'd find it really difficult to fill those 5 names into the top 5 rounds. So really well done. But anyway, this is a very good team. I like it a lot. In fact, I think I want to send your 26 first away if there's a deal that makes sense to go out and contend this year. And I definitely think we should target, in an ideal world, a running back and a tight end. In fact, I think we can use Kyler Murray in a tier down. So I'd like to use a combination of Kyler Murray and that 26 first to go out and contend this year. And again, in an ideal world, we end up with another running back and a really good tight end. But you could also just run into the season with Brenton Strange and see how it works. I mean, to be fair, Zach Ertz was a top 12 tight end last year. So you have Senate in case he goes down. I think running back is the biggest need for this team. So thinking that through, 26 first, Breece Hall is a name that we're seeing traded a lot at the moment. So I'll say Breece Hall. I'll say Jonathan Taylor. I don't think Bucky Irving is possible, but maybe if we did a 2-for-2 where you had send the Kyler Murray to the Bucky Irving owner, and then maybe do they have a tight end that would make this make sense? Let's see who owns Bucky. They have Loveland. That seems a little out of range maybe, but I don't hate it. In fact, they need a quarterback too. This could be the perfect team. Would you do a Bucky? This is really not far off, honestly. You couldn't get Bucky for a first on its own. Kyler Murray is worth far more than Loveland, unless it's a tight end premium. I don't know. That's actually That seems
I would
pretty
say
fair to me.
26 first, Bucky and Loveland.
And maybe you send them, like, they have a Terrence Ferguson there, so maybe you send them, like, a Zach Ertz or something. And we can see if we can add on... Man, I mean, can you add Bird into this and send Ertz and the second? And your 26 second, you know?
Yeah, Zach Ertz, 26 second. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it's a little bit... because he has Dak Prescott. So, like, if one of those guys goes down... really puts him in a bind there because he doesn't have another quarterback. But like I think that's probably my only concern.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
That we've seen Brock Purdy miss a couple games, Dak Prescott miss.
Yeah, we ideally can tear down from Kyler, so we could definitely explore that idea as well. But I think that's a really good team to try and get a deal done with, because they can afford. They can definitely afford to move on from a Bucky, given the team that they have. You know, it's funny because Scribble says we're selling low on Kyler. I don't know. Like, I always find it interesting, players that I have on my teams that no one wants, and then we come on stream and talk about trades that we could potentially negotiate with, and then people are saying we're underselling that player. Do people want Kyler Murray in your guys' leagues? Because I found him like the most difficult quarterback to sell this offseason, personally.
What's Bucky? And I'm not agreeing with Scribbles, but like I'm going back to the trades that you've done. Where's Bucky Irving valued at?
What's up, Sparrow? It's $10 to add on top for non-members, $7 to add on top for our annual members. Look, I think the reality of the situation, in my opinion, if we just made this a 2-for-2, and maybe we can find a way to make it a little bit more even, okay? If we just made this a 2-for-2 and we remove Zach Ertz from the situation entirely, number one, this is a tight end premium. Number two, I believe Bucky and Kyler are pretty much going right beside each other in a startup. So you're basically sending your first, which is a late first. This team is going to contend. You're sending a late first for Colson Loveland. I mean, Kyler and Bucky are going in the same round pretty much every single startup I'm in. My experience has been no one is even interested in trading for Kyler. Like, he's been impossible for me to trade. But anyway, let's see. Sparrow says no for the free one. I mean, if you want to upgrade it to live, my friend, it's only a $7 upgrade. So when you submit it, it will be free for the offline playbook. But when you move that slider, just move it up to the live tier, and it should be $7 for upgrade for our annual members.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, sorry, like I just think since this is a super flex league, because Josh is right, like that's kind of quarterbacks are premium, so like I don't think you would send Kyler Murray for Bucky Irving, but I could be wrong.
Absolutely. I tried to send that trade 6 times in our leagues. No one wanted Kyler Murray. 100%. I literally have sent that trade so many times this offseason, and nobody wanted it.
I guess in my perspective, is not if I was the Bucky Irving owner, I would take that trade in a heartbeat because I just think the value of that position is significantly more in a dynasty perspective.
I think you are one more year away from Kyler Murray disappointing people, from him being in the conversation of no one wants him at all. And I love Kyler Murray.
Sure. Like that definitely could be a scenario for sure. Or we could be 1 year away where Kyler Murray's back to where he was finishing as a top 3 quarterback,
I think it speaks to my belief in Bucky Irving here.
I think I get it.
You and I, honestly, that's what it comes down to. You and I don't agree on Bucky Irving. That's the problem here, based off everything we've said in the offseason.
I just don't, in my perspective, like to put it in the bowl, I don't believe next year that Bucky Irving, if I'm putting my money on it, which I can be completely wrong, I don't think Bucky Irving would be more valuable than Kyler Murray if Kyler Murray is the guy that we know that he can be. If Kyler Murray can finish as a top 5 quarterback and Bucky Irving finishes as a top...
How is Kyler Murray going to finish as a top 5 quarterback in today's quarterback market? I just don't see how that happens with the quarterbacks we have in today's... the quarterback market in Dynasty has never been more saturated. I understand the value of the position, but we have never had this little need for quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, think about the guys who'd have to outscore: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Baker had a great year. Jaden Daniels. Nix, I think, is going to have a great year. We haven't even talked about Jalen Hurts. If Pat Mahomes figures it out, Justin Herbert. I don't know. I struggle to understand.
I hear that. I'm not disagreeing. Like it is filled with competition. It is going to be really difficult for him to finish top 5. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
I don't think that is.
Josh says he doesn't see Bucky winning him a league. I mean, Bucky won me leagues last year. He's already done that for me. Kyler's done that in the past. And he certainly could do that again. But he hasn't won leagues for us in a while. He hasn't won leagues for us since 2021.
Like, my perspective is just like, I don't know if I would send Kyler for Bucky straight up, but I could be wrong. I doubt you can do that for like the beat. I would do it for like.
So you guys see no scenario in which Kyler Murray is similar to what he was last year and the team is looking to move on from him? You guys see no scenario that's possible?
Sure. Do you not see any scenario where Bucky Irving doesn't finish as a top 12 running back and his value plummets?
Of course that's a possibility, but we're talking about the life cycle of these two players.
Yeah. And I think the
one
life
just
cycle
completely transformed his team, his rushing attack. The other has been completely middle of the pack for the past 3 years as a starter. I feel like this is turning into a Kyler Murray debate, which I love Kyler Murray. I just feel like we're wasting time now.
Sure.
Okay, so if I'm underselling Kyler Murray here, which, yeah, in my leagues, I couldn't even get this deal done that I'm trying to suggest for you to get done. But if this means I'm underselling Kyler Murray, maybe you keep your second, see if you can get Bucky, Loveland, and Burden. If this trade entered my league in any inbox, it's not happening, but apparently I am underselling. So how high of a ceiling can you reach for Kyler Murray then? Your league might be different. Maybe your league values him a little bit more. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on each league. Let's look if there's a different owner out there. Maybe that would make more sense to sell Kyler Murray to. Let's see if we can tear down from Kyler to a different quarterback, like an A-Rich, for example. If we can move off of Kyler, I'd like to add a running back, but that's not possible with that team. Let's keep looking. Let's see. Like a Darnold, I don't mind, actually. If we could go Darnold, Harvey, Andrews.
Darnold, Harvey, Andrews. Yeah, look, that makes sense. Not in love with Darnold, but yeah, I think that's okay.
I think if I sent this offer in all of my leagues, people would say, I don't even want Kyler Murray. But maybe it is possible in your league. Maybe you can add A.J. Brown on. Like, if people actually want Kyler Murray desperately in your league, maybe you can add A.J. Brown and add that 26 first into this deal. So... But again, so you guys think this is realistic? Just asking the chat overall. Do you think this is realistic, Badaki?
I mean, like I said, when you're doing, I don't like Sam Darnold, so I would just keep Kyler Murray because I value him significantly higher.
You're saying you think the Kyler package is worth more.
What's the premium again?
0.5.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Look, maybe not with AJ Brown. If you give me AJ Brown, I think RJ Harvey, Mark Andrews, AJ Brown feels comfortable for Kyler. Now, would I do that trade? Would I do that trade? I don't know, because it just depends on the context of my team. In this context that we're talking about here, me losing Kyler Murray without getting a quarterback that I feel comfortable with, then I wouldn't do that trade.
Okay. Well, how do you tear down from Kyler Murray, a quarterback that nobody wants, and get a quarterback that you like in return?
Sure. I mean, I I was never a big Kyler Murray fan. I just think like the value is significantly low. So like in my perspective, you can probably get like
So
you can probably
what
say
quarterback can you tear down to then, in your mind? What is the ideal quarterback to tear down from Kyler Murray?
Michael Penix.
How can you tear down from Penix though? To Penix, I feel like people value them the exact same. In a lot of startups, people are taking Penix ahead of Kyler. No?
I maybe let me just go based off. I'm just gonna go based off of what KTC says here. Kyler Murray QB 14, tier 10. I guess Michael Penix QB 19, tier 10. So in the same tier technically. I can tear down from him. With Dak Prescott, even though he's an older quarterback.
We already have Dak on our team.
I wouldn't mind doing Trevor Lawrence if I can get a good package.
I don't think anyone's gonna see that. This is my problem with this whole idea of tearing down from Kyler, though. Like, okay, so if you look at my rankings, at least, I have Kyler in the same tier as Trevor, Penix, Stroud, McCarthy, Baker, Goff. In my opinion, I don't think you can tear down to any of those names and gain any value. I think you're gonna have to go down to Bryce Young, Tua, Dart, and if you really want to extract value, Geno, Justin, Darnold, or Richardson. I don't know. Just my experience, I don't see anyone being willing to tier up to Kyler Murray and saying, yes, I want to pay more on top of McCarthy, Baker, Stroud, Penix. Definitely not Purdy after his contract extension. I don't see anyone tearing up to a Kyler Murray at this point. Whether you guys think he's undervalued or not, based off of my pulse in my leagues, I don't think that's possible. But
yeah, I just think when I think of the overall player, I'm thinking about his surroundings and how I still believe he can be fantasy relevant with his rushing upside. And I think I would rather have him over those players, which means because of his ceiling. We always talk about their person's ceiling and not we're talking about their ceiling, but right now we're talking about their value, his value, Kyler Murray. Now, if you're telling me Kyler Murray can be his absolute ceiling, and which we have seen outside of the names that, for example, you use like Sam Darnold. I don't want Sam Darnold, but I guess that's a bad example because we're just using that trade. But anyways, look, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just think, like, in my perspective, I like Kyler Murray. I would be holding Kyler Murray.
I like Kyler Murray too. I just think we're being unrealistic with what his value is in leagues. That's my problem. I like Kyler Murray too. I've never not liked Kyler Murray. I mean, I was literally begging everyone last year to tear down from CJ Stroud to Kyler Murray plus. I got Kyler Murray and Drake London in the league. I got Kyler Murray, Zay Flowers in a first in the league. I love Kyler Murray too. That's not the point here. It's that I don't think that his value is at a point in leagues where you can tear down from him. Look, what I'll do is I will just say my ideas of how I think you can tear down from him. And then, Badaki, if you have any other ideas that you think you should explore, then feel free to do so. I just don't believe that. I don't think you and I are on the same page as far as what he's valued as. So I'm going to look at names like Tua, Bryce for a second, if that's okay. Just because I think I don't want to turn this into like a Kyler Murray debate stream. So, for example, like a Tua, maybe like a Tua Kittle in a first would be interesting to me. And then we can actually send back like your 26 second to get this done. We'll do a little pick swap there. All right, we talked about Tua. Let's go to Bryce Young as well. So in this one, it would be like you can't get Brock Bowers. That's unfortunate. But like a Bryce Young and a Quinshon Judkins. I don't think you can get that in any of our leagues. But again, based off what the chat is telling me, this is possible. Like in my league, I think you would probably have to add a first and second round pick swap. Not in your favor to do this, but Yeah, like if that's possible, great. I mean, I would personally be willing to even add a second on top of this if I had to do that to get the job done. So I'd be totally fine with that. And then if we want to go down and maximize value, I think Justin Fields is another great option who's going to help you contend right now. And maybe you can net a little bit more out of that type of deal. It'd be like a Fields, Henderson, and a first. You can't get the first. That's just so unrealistic. I'm trying to like get a blend of what you guys are saying and also suggest ideas. Honestly, I think if you send this trade in my league, it gets declined. But I would totally be willing to take Kyler Murray and Trayvon Henderson. I would 100% be just absolutely thrilled with that idea. But anyway, those are some of my ideas, but you can let us know if you have different ideas there.
Yeah, in my perspective, I would just hold Kyler Murray. I wouldn't trade him because from what Zach is saying, that like he's not somebody that we should be selling. That's basically like the summation. Just to go back and just be like, you know what? Actually, let's just hold him. Let's keep him and then see what we can get. Obviously, we're trying to tear down, give you the best maximum value here with everything that you have because of your team. But since you have Dak Prescott, remember, and I said earlier, if you lose Kyler Murray and Dak Purdy goes down, you put yourself in a bind. So if anything, let's keep Kyler Murray, see how he performs, and then we can sell him.
Well, if you want to keep Kyler Murray, how are you going to fill out the rest of this roster then in an ideal world?
Yeah, look,
how are you going to address tight end and quarterback? Where do you want to move that from then? Because that's why we started selling.
Yeah, that's
Kyler
kind of
Murray.
why we started Kyler Murray in the first place. I understand that. If we, sorry to go back to what you were saying, where's Dak Prescott in your tier? Do you have Dak Prescott on the same tier as Kyler Murray? If that's the case, just to go back to it,
they're in a different tier.
Okay, then a different tier. Okay, then why don't we just do that no, we can't do that. Then why don't we do the same thing for then Dak Prescott, Justin Fields, and then Trayvon Henderson? Or Dak Prescott probably can't do that.
I just don't see anyone accepting that. I don't think anybody wants
I
Dak
agree.
over
I
Trayvon.
agree. No, nobody wants that either, so I wouldn't do that trade. Look, I guess we're gonna have to use Kyler Murray to trade down because I'm not gonna want to sell any of your top 3 wide receivers, unfortunately. Okay. So let me have a look here.
Well, yeah. I mean, what you could do is, in an ideal world, sell that 26 first for Breece Hall or Jonathan Taylor, and then you can keep Kyler Murray if you want. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a good point there. I mean, we could sell Brock Purdy instead.
I don't think Brock is going to give you any more than Kyler Wood in the trade. I prefer, I mean, you can see by my rankings, I prefer to keep Brock over Kyler. I think there's a much safer longevity to a Brock Purdy who just signed a 5-year deal. Love Kyler Murray, but
yeah, I hear you.
I don't understand, like, I understand the upside of a Kyler Murray. I'm with everyone. I love Kyler Murray. I love the upside. I love that he can give me 30 on any given week. But I don't agree with the idea that Kyler Murray is like a safe. I don't know. Like,
I think the rushing upside gives him the safe.
It's not about his fantasy points. It's about his status in the NFL.
Sure.
I don't know how many years we can have of Kyler Murray having exciting games and then massively disappointing his franchise to the point where they, like, if the Cardinals have a top 5 pick next year and Kyler Murray had the same year he had this year, are they not going to consider Lenora Sellers? Like, for real.
I mean, I just don't know, because the year before, Kyler Murray, like, if we really bring the context, everything in, Kyler Murray came off an ACL tear 2 years before, so he came playing back. right? Then the year after, which was last year, he should take a big jump. He didn't have anyone outside of Trey McBride, who didn't play until the second half of the season, or middle of the season. And then this past year, excuse me, or that was technically 2 years ago with Trey McBride. Now this past year, we get Mark Harrison, who he didn't live up to hype or the expectation. So I think, yes, sure. Is there more risk with Kyler Murray right now? Absolutely. But there's also significantly more upside with Kyler Murray if all that does fall into place. Another year with Martin Harrison Jr., another year under this offensive coordinator. They're getting this offensive line better. Another year with Trey McBride. I think all those things play into part, not only including his rushing upside. So if Kyler Murray hypothetically finishes as a top 6 quarterback this year, everyone's saying Kyler Murray is the guy. We should keep him. I'm not selling Kyler Murray for any top 3 picks because 2026 is a shit class right now.
Not a quarterback. That's what I've been
saying. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying what people have been saying about the 26, right? So I don't know. You know way more than me. When it comes down to 26 class,
I think everyone's perception becomes the reality. Shout out to Survivor. It seems like my perception of Kyler Murray is not the same as the community's, even though I love him. Sure, in an ideal world you hold, but then you're going to start asking about how we actually create a complete roster with this team. I am more than comfortable making any of the moves that I suggested here with Kyler Murray. I don't think you're underselling him personally. Maybe it comes down to a difference of opinion in Bucky Irving. I don't know. But in an ideal world, you can just send that first for a Breece Hall and a Jonathan Taylor instead. And keep Kyler Murray, right? So that is the flexibility you have with this roster. It's a very good roster. You've done a great job building up around it. I don't know what else to say because I don't want this to turn into a Kyler Murray debate, and I think we've spent a lot of time now.
I just think everyone's expressing how they were feeling, which is totally fine. Yeah, so you said, so the only move realistically is to try to move Kyler Murray. According to this, yes, I personally be holding. Now, I think, like Zach said, trading your 26 first, getting those values, and then holding on Kyler Murray could be something that you'll do. Now, the trades, I'll tell you the trades that I like off the ones that Zach has brought up there. It will probably be the tags George Kittle in the future first one. That's probably my favorite one, just because I'm getting a quarterback back. The other ones, I'm not sure I love that because I think it's pretty crucial. I think ever since that year where all the quarterbacks went down, I'm pretty I need 3 quarterbacks. I'm not making that mistake again. And we've seen the injuries with Dak or Brock Purdy there. But I completely get what you're saying. Please, David, let us know if you have any last minute questions. Sorry that we took a massive rant to the left there.
Yeah.
But let us know if you have any last minute questions on anything that you would like us to explore. I think at the end of the day, kind of what we're both trying to say, this team is good. You are missing a running back. I think Brenton Strange, Zach Ertz is going to be enough for this offense, especially if Zach Ertz goes down. Ben Sinnott is the next guy up. So you have a backfield of tight end or the room of a tight end, which is totally fine. So if you can just hypothetically just get a running back like we kind of mentioned there, Breece Hall or Jonathan Taylor, then maybe don't have to sell Kyler Murray, and then maybe Zach is right and Kyler Murray value doesn't gain, or maybe we're right and Kyler Murray value has gained, then you can go for there, right? So it doesn't, you can go
Overall,
either way.
I have no problem with you holding Kyler Murray, but again, I think we're unrealistic with what we're expecting to get back from him. That's my biggest problem with everything so far. But
appreciate you. You should be receiving your playbook
if you can utilize that first to fill out the running back spot. So, yeah. Do like Kyler Murray though. It is very strange that you are advocating for him, and I am, for some reason,
I never
trying to be more realistic because I am Team Kyler Murray for the majority of our channel. But
I've never been against Kyler Murray in a fantasy perspective. He just annoys me when I watch him play, so I call him the cockroach. I hate the way he plays with his little legs and he runs, and you're always about to sack him or tackle him. pissed me off as many times as I watched him. I hate it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I'll still have him on my team.
I love it. All right, let's go on to the next team. David says, all good fellas. Maybe moving Dak in a first and Ertz for the Ward and Pitts was the only real idea. I would definitely not do that. Kyle Pitts is not the answer to your tight end position. He could be in the future if he develops, but yeah, there's no way I'm sending Dak a first and Ertz for Ward and Pitts.
Yeah.
Ward and Dak I would value similarly right now. I'd have them in the same tier. So the way I'm doing that is you're just sending a first for Kyle Pitts, which I would definitely suggest not to do.
Yeah.
I would much rather do any of those Kyler Murray deals that we talked about than and that's why I never talked about moving Dak, because I don't think he has the opportunity to change your team at all. Anyway, like, you can't sell Dak Prescott and get a quarterback and improve your running back room. And, you know, he doesn't have that power in the market right now. But, all right, let's look at Flimsy Whimsy's here. Team here. Appreciate you, David. Thanks for that submission there, my friend.
Flimsy Whimsy.
And yeah, let's have a look at this next team here, Flimsy Whimsy.
Okay. Sorry, I have to make a chalkboard for him.
That's okay.
3-9.
So it is a
3-9-5.
one quarterback. It's only an 8-team league, and it's a start 9. So smaller league, 8-team. Everyone should have stacked teams at this point. I want to make sure that's what it reflects on the back end too. Yep, one quarterback, 8-team start 9.
That's
Maltese
round.
Falcon is the 8th team here, and that is where you rank. You currently ranked 8th out of 8. But that is okay. It doesn't mean much in an 8-team league. Everybody's team is going to look good. Let's, when you have a second, read out his team.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. All right, rank 8th here out of 5, or out of 8. 8 out of 8 here. Okay. Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert in one quarterback league. That's good. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Ramondre Stevenson, Isaac Correndo. No heavy hitters at the running back position, which I was maybe hoping to see. At the wide receiver position, you can start up to 5 wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, Waddle, Worthy, Terry, Ricky. Ooh, with Mark Andrews there.
I'm honestly, it feels like this league just got off a startup based off the way everyone's team is ranked. I could be wrong. I'm just really confused by this team.
I'm confused by the team as well.
Okay, so CeeDee Lamb is probably your first round pick.
Then
I don't
where
see
he goes?
any player worthy of a second round pick on this roster
exactly.
in a quarterback league. So
I would imagine maybe did he go Jaden Daniels because of a quarterback? I don't see why you would do that. I could be wrong.
I guess in a 18 it's going to give you an advantage, but
did he go CD Jaden and then maybe went like Derek? Maybe.
I don't know, but
I think that's why I said ooh, because like I just don't see like the heavy hitters. If you go to the first team there,
they got Burrow,
he has Malik
Gibbs,
Neighbors,
Jefferson.
How did that happen? Even if your wide receiver, your running back room wasn't good, like team 2, he has a Monron Nico, Marvin Rome with Trey McBride, but his running back room is not the strongest, but he still has decent running back room. Like there's no balance. Every team feels very balanced outside of yours. Yours just feels like CeeDee Lamb, Jaden Daniels, and the rest is not that is nothing, but like there's no heavy hitters. And I keep saying that because in a start 8 league, in a smaller roster, or I guess this is a start 9 technically, but yes, I guess that middle
start
round
9,
roster.
But it's an 8-team league, so like
you were kind of hoping,
like no one's RB3 should be Ramondre Stevenson, you know. No one's wide receiver 2 should be Waddle in this type of format. You should have stacked rosters across the board. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is year 2 and you made some tough trades that have put you in a difficult spot. I'm not 100% sure. There's no context to the review, to the submission, but your starting lineup is probably Daniels, Henry, Kamara, CD, Waddle, Andrews, and then you still need to start 3 more names between Worthy, Terry, Ricky. I don't know. Like, I really don't see how that lineup
he said tough
contains.
trades.
How does that line up? It's just not a serious contender.
No, it's not. You said tough trades, Flimsy. And look, sorry that we're coming off pretty harsh. We're just being transparent here because in a start 8, we was like, you know what? We saw you being last. It's like your team you should still have some guys here. The two guys Zach and I want to talk about really is CeeDee Lamb and Jaden Daniels, and that's not enough in an 8-man league, unfortunately. He says it's all good on cheeks. No, you're good. I
think you might be better than Team 6, but if you look at every other team, I think every other team probably has a better starting lineup than you right now. I just really don't see how this... It's weird because I think you could make the playoffs. If this was a 12-team one-quarterback league, you and I would look at it and say, I think you can make the playoffs with this team. But for an 8-team league, I don't know. You might make the playoffs. You might be the 102 next year. I definitely wouldn't suggest to sell your future first-round pick. You know? Maybe we just kind of play with house money a little bit this year. Like if Terry can be what he was last year, if Waddle can recover, you know, if Kamara and Henry. The difficult part is in a year from now, what if Henry and Kamara fall off a cliff? I'm not sure if Waddle doesn't recover his value, if Ricky doesn't break out. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels won't have as much value in a one-quarterback format. So, man, what pathway do you go for a team like this? Do you just commit to a full rebuild?
No, because I think you can still compete with some of these players.
I mean, you can sneak into the playoffs and then anything's possible. But
I think this is in or out. Like, you can wait and see how these guys go, or we can put him in the sleeper category. I don't think it's a 1-year punt or full rebuild. I don't see how we can gain anything from. I could be wrong. You let me know if I'm wrong. If we were to full rebuild right now?
I think if we're being realistic, and you and I are saying this roster's probably not a serious contender, then we can rationalize the idea of let's sell Henry on a high-end season, Kamara on a high-end season. Let's sell Terry. Let's sell.
Can we
Mark.
Sell them? Can we sell these guys in an 8-man league high at all? This is going to be people's.
That's the
Derrick
thing.
Henry.
I think you have that advantage because it's such a small league. These veterans like Derrick Henry, who have top 5 upside, are much easier to sell, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. I would think it's the opposite because these people's teams are so deep because of. I mean, this guy has Kyron Williams as their RB3. This guy has.
We can definitely find a team that is stacked that needs running back.
Bijan Robinson, James Cook.
DC Reachers has Pollard as his RB2, but he has a stacked squad outside of that. He would pay up for sure. You know, you look at a team like the Gentiles who have Hubbard and Walker. They're definitely going to be, well, they're about to add a Genty. So I definitely hear what you're saying. It will take the right owner. Man, I think we just need to go in and out here and explore both options real fast.
Yeah, let's do it.
And again, I apologize if this is coming off harsh.
It's the Kyler Murray effect. Blame it on Kyler Murray, not jokes. Because that was harsh as well.
I love Kyler. Okay, overall team grade. If this is a 12-team league, I would probably give this like a B+. But in an 8-team, I think it's more like a C flat.
Yeah.
Because we have to be realistic about the expectations of an 8-team league. Draft capital grade.
I wonder what you did with your first as well. Like, you don't have your first in this pick, which I'm assuming you would have the 108.
Oh, yeah, we don't have our own first-round pick.
It's a 208. Well, it's not even his. Not even his 208. Sorry.
Draft capital grade, I would probably put this at a B+ because you have a lot of picks in the future, but just not like the important first rounders.
So this guy definitely didn't compete. Sorry, he finished as the 103 this past year.
Who did?
Maltese.
Maltese finished at the 103?
Yeah.
Okay, if you just finished at the 103 with Derrick Henry, who just had an incredible year, Terry McLaurin a top 5 season, Jaden Daniels was a quarterback,
Kamara,
1 or 2.
Yeah.
I definitely think we need to reload.
Yeah. Yeah.
You pretty much had
Because
best case scenario with this roster last year outside of Worthy and Waddle. Lamb, sure, wasn't living up to expectations. Neither was Mark. But I think we just need to be realistic here and pull the Band-Aid off. I think we need to rebuild.
yeah, Worthy didn't do anything. Terry, I guess. Ricky. Yeah, I would agree. We need to reconsidering that and knowing that context, that 103.
If this team was a 103 last year.
Yeah, but you also have to put in the context that, like, Waddle didn't have Tua. Worthy was still a rookie.
Worthy
Ricky
had
didn't
every
play.
reason to break out.
Sure. Ricky didn't play. Cooper Kupp was hurt.
Sutton was a top 15 receiver.
He was missing people.
I don't know.
He didn't have enough people to start. He didn't have enough people to start last year. To be fair. Think about it. Ricky didn't play.
But even if you're having that conversation, you didn't have enough players to start in an 8-team league, you have to rebuild then. All right, I'm going full rebuild.
All right, yeah, I'm there with you. Let's do a full rebuild.
We want to sell Henry.
Once again, please jump in at any time. I know you were here, Flimsy, earlier. Once again, sorry for being harsh. We're just trying to make sure that you get the best team review that we possibly can give you with the options with the information that we have, right? Yeah, dude, 103, that's tough.
The good thing is his rookie draft hasn't started yet, so we can potentially see if we can get some 2025 picks for some of these players. I don't mind pretty much stripping this down bare bones. Tight ends might not have much value. There's no premium and there's only 8 teams. Okay. So Flimsy wants to strip. It's not that type of stream, brother. All right, not that type of stream here. Although people get paid good money for that. No, all right. Let's look at Derrick Henry. I think in a league like this, DC Reachers is a great trade target. He has a 106. 106 might sound unrealistic. Send it. See what's possible. What if you sent the 208 with the 106? You know, or with Derrick Henry. Does that get you over the top? Can you send Derrick Henry and Cortland Sutton? If he's not willing to do that, can you send Derrick Henry, Cortland Sutton? Instead of Cortland Sutton, let's make it, does he need a tight end? Let's just say, hey, take Mark Andrews off me, you know? How possible is it to land that 106? That would be an ideal outcome for you, because then you're going to be able to go grab a Henderson, Judkins, McMillan, Hunter to build around long term. That makes a lot more sense for your roster. And if he prefers Kamara is interchangeable in any of those deals. Okay. But let's just say off the rip, for Derrick Henry, for Alvin Kamara, we will take any first in any year. Now, you have to recognize that you may need to be patient selling these names because it's always easier to sell running backs in season. Okay? So, again, if those deals aren't possible in season, try and sell Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. And the good thing is, you know you'll get a top 8 pick no matter what if you're able to sell them for a first, because you only have 8 teams, right? But if you can do any of these deals now, that's great. For Terry McLaurin, look, I would say the same thing. If you can get 81st in any year. For Sutton, if you can get an early second, because that might be worth a first in this league anyway. For Cooper Kupp, I would say mid second could be a target for the future. For Stevenson, we'll take any second in any year. We'll do the same thing with Travis Etienne. Same thing with Andrews. Same thing with Evan Ingram. Now, for the 2025 draft, can we sell Derrick Henry to the team that has the 201? Because that's actually the 109. right? Can we sell Derrick Henry to the 202 team? That's the 110. The 203, right? We can do these deals. And again, this is not in season. This is more right now. Again, all these deals are interchangeable with Alvin Kamara. So if you can send Kamara for the 203, if you can send Derrick Henry for these deals, do both of them. You know what I mean? So any of those are a possibility. They make a ton of sense. And that's probably where I would stop as far as how low I would go. Now, as far as Sutton, in an ideal world, you turn him into a Burden, Higgins, Besh, right? So that means we're looking more at the... Give me a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're more looking at the 207 to the 20... Let's say the 207 to the 209 range, right? That'd be great.
Yeah. So 208 is the 16th overall pick, if I'm thinking about that correctly.
Yeah, that's kind of the range of like your Burden, Higgins.
Yeah, was that 204,
Harris,
20
in the 12 team, yeah. And then Cooper Kupp you can sell for any second this year, right? The 209, I think you're doing that math in reverse, Average Joe, right?
Yeah, I think
that's in reverse because the 201 is equivalent to the 109, which means that the 205 is equivalent to the 201.
The way I just did in my head is 8 plus 8, and then you do 18 minus
shout out to Matt
24, right? 8 or 24 minus 18. I think that's
so the 208. No, I guess this is what people are trying to figure out. The 208.
206. Sorry.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
The 208 is a 206. Sorry, that's what I think.
Well, the 201 equals the 109. Okay, so let me just do this. 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
This is Mike H says 208 equals a 204 in a 12 team. Right.
What am I doing? How am I doing this wrong? No. Okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. Okay, hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, the 204. It's actually equivalent to the 204.
Yeah, okay.
God damn, I'm stupid. Okay, so that's like Luther Burden. That's Jaden Higgins. That's Trey Harris.
Cam Scatterbo.
Jack Besh.
Yeah.
That range. Exactly. That's actually a great addition to your team for sure.
Yeah, 208 is not as bad as you really think. But definitely, you can definitely then tier up there.
Right, Average Joe, I get you. That makes sense. Okay. Apologies for being a dumbass. But yeah, I'd be totally happy with any of these trades for Derrick and Kamara. And in a ideal outcome, you turn Derrick into RJ Harvey or Caleb Johnson, right? Or one of these top names, or you do the same thing with Kamara and you grab an Igbuka or whatever the case may be, right? Obviously, you can do any first in any year in the future. And these are really the main names that you're wanting to sell as we kind of hit this full reset button. I probably would take Ramondre Stevenson. I should be realistic here and say any third. Let's say an early third.
Yeah.
The report that came out today from the interview of Mike Vrabel is going to give you guys one last chance to sell Ramondre if you want to.
I just think it's an opportunity to go buy Ramondre on the low. Real now, jokes.
Do it. It's hilarious because that report, I saw it from Coach Speak Index, and then if you look at his reliability on usage, it's like one of the worst in the NFL from a head coach perspective. I think he has like a 40% reliability rate when talking about the roster in that way. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I want to be open to answer any questions from you, Flimsy. That's the direction we would take this.
I would just say, like, keep in mind, you want to get the best value out of all these players, right? So the Derrick Henrys, the Alvin Kamaras, the Terrys, the Suttons here. Don't just try and get a bunch of picks. This is a slow build, obviously, but you do have some key pieces, some things that we haven't gone through, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but obviously untouchables, your future first in 26 and 27. Some holds, I would say. I say we can hold Jaden Daniels in a league like this, since we are going to be trying to sell a lot of these guys. And then CeeDee Lamb, we will want to hold in those two. I guess we can also hold. I think we kind of mentioned everyone else, but
yeah, I guess hold since we haven't, you can still build around CeeDee. I would hold him and see if he like regains that top dog status this year.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall, we will want to hold as well, and that's probably, and then Isaac Correndo. Sorry. Garendo.
But yeah.
And then drops, probably, you can drop QJ in a league like this. You can drop Braylon Allen in a league like this. Aldrick Estime.
Well, definitely Estime over Braylon, though.
Yeah, but please, once again, let us know if you have any last minute questions there. He says, yeah, I was trying to sell CeeDee, but felt like his value could be higher in season. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Wait until the season there.
Appreciate you, my friend. Sorry it took us a while to get there, but full rebuild from us. But Aki, do your thing.
Yeah. Sorry. Flimsy, you should be receiving your playbook customized with everything that we drew up here today within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message system there. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support, man. Okay.
So this next playbook we will do is from Nick. He upgraded to live. And he has his sleeper ID in the comments of the review. He didn't submit it with the team connected, if that makes sense. So I'll have to go to the My Teams, and maybe you use KTC if it doesn't work for both. Definitely always good to link your teams and My Teams first before you guys submit, by the way, just because it's going to make it's going to give us the ability to give you the best review possible. But obviously it's good to have that sleeper ID as a last resort. But he says, wanting to know if there's anything else I can do to make myself more of a contender. And we don't know the starting lineup here. Let me see. I think it's a start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's a 1 quarterback, 14 team start 9.
Okay. Start 9. Okay. 1 quarterback.
So it's middle ground.
1 quarterback, start 9. And it's a 14-team league, correct?
Yeah, that is correct here.
Okay, awesome. So we have that ID. And do we know his team name?
I am about to pull that up on the back end.
It is Nick. It just says Nick. Okay, yeah, it's Nick XX Nicks. Okay, so we have the team name. I think we've got everything we need to do this one. Appreciate the upgrade here, and let's have a gaze, shall we?
Let's have a gaze. What's happening, Mason? I'll send you the information here after the live stream.
I agree.
Actually,
I agree with what Mason's saying there. All right, let's do it.
All right.
Thank God you missed the Kyler Murray debate, Mason. Jeez Louise. We wasted so much time talking about Kyler Murray today. All right, let's read the team.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Quarterback. No, you're all good. Once again, this is a 1 quarterback start 9 middle ground. And let's have a look at this team here. Justin Herbert, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. So I guess it's good in 1 quarterback, excuse me. So that's okay. Achan, Irving, Chuba. Wow, a lot of running backs here. A lot of running backs. But I think that is some good pieces that you have there so far. Achan, Bucky, Chuba are 3 guys that we like. And then obviously you have Jordan Mason there with a bunch of these young rookies. You can, in this league, start up to 5 wide receivers. So you're starting 5 because we like to prioritize wide receiver in that flex position. Jefferson, Harrison, Tetarora, Chris Olave, George Pickens. That's your starting 5 within no Pat Bryant there with Dalton Kincaid, and you have your 26 first rounder here. Let's get straight into some admin stuff. Some untouchables that I can see here is really just Justin Jefferson. That's the only one that I can see here in a league like this. Is this a tight end premium? I can't really see. I'll have to ask Zach when he comes back. I know it's not a tight end premium that I can see. Some holds that we always like to mention: Jordan Mason, Chris Olave. We would like to hold there, and probably that's about it.
Looks
I guess
like
you
they've
can
already
also
done their
rookie draft, yeah, and a bunch of drops. You can drop Kamani Vidal, Keaton Mitchell, Javon Baker, De'Ami Brown, Jermaine Burton are easy guys that you can go ahead and drop there straight away if you really wanted to, just to make some room on your team.
What are we thinking? I think you can contend with this.
Yeah, I think he can contend with this as well. De'Ami Brown.
He does have 2 firsts and 26, which we can discuss. Like potentially we can move one of those firsts to just build out a little bit of a stronger team. Honestly, for a 14-team league, it's 14 teams, right?
Yes, 14 team.
That's a pretty impressive roster, no?
Yeah.
I find it pretty impressive for 14 team. I mean, this is a better, no offense to Flimsy, but this is almost a better team that he had in a 1 quarterback 8 team, no?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I like this team a lot. I think this is, and again, trying to contextualize this, and keep in mind it is a 14-team league, so this is more impressive than normal. I would say this is definitely in the A range. I would probably say A- for a team like this. For again, 14-team league.
Yeah, currently ranked 4th, A-.
Are we sure it's a 14-team league though?
It says in the back end. I mean, check the. I can't see it on your end.
What did you put it into KTC? What did KTC say?
I'm about to see what KTC says. Give me a second.
Just because
on KTC it says 12-man league, but on the back end it says 1 quarterback, 14 teams, start 9. So
see, start a 12-team league makes more sense to me because of the roster and because he's ranked 4th with that roster.
Yeah, interesting.
There's 2 teams that must be orphaned or something, or they might actually just be dog shit.
Check the whatchamacallit, the waiver wires, because I can't check it on my end, unfortunately. So
on the waivers, waivers are pretty much naked. I think this is a 12-team.
Okay, 12 team. So he's currently ranked 4th in the 12. I mean, look at team 11 and 12. I don't think we've ever seen a negative actually. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's crazy.
I need to submit a tag, so why don't you walk us through, like, have you already walked through Untouchables and stuff?
Yeah, we went a walk through the Untouchables and everything. Draft capital, since you have 2 firsts and 26, I'll give it a B+. You don't have any of your seconds there, but you have your 27 first, but that's okay. I can walk through some of this draft capital that you got here. So you got Dylan Sampson, Woody Marks, Jordan James, Rashad Smith, Tetarora, Jalen Noah, and Pat Bryant, which I really do like there. I think this is a good draft. I would say this is just a B flat type of rookie draft. I like getting Pat. Looks like you probably didn't have any seconds there, so you probably got Tet and then Pat in the 3rd, or Jalen Noah was probably that late second that you got. Excuse me. And no waiver wires to mention here to go out and pick up there. But looking at this team, in my perspective, I don't think there's much that you can or should do. I think we could potentially go out and get a tight end that we feel a lot more comfortable with since you have Dalton Kincaid and Jake Ferguson using that 26 first. Or we could potentially use that 26 first to then go out and get another wide receiver, right? I know you have a rookie in Tet, and then you have George Pickens, who I don't really love. So can we go out and get somebody along those lines? at that quarterback, or excuse me, at that wide receiver position. And then the last thing I would say, and I think Zach will probably be done there, is George Pickens. I'm not a big George Pickens guy. Can we pivot to somebody else? I know Zach will probably disagree with that.
I
but
would
like,
disagree. I would strongly disagree.
You know, I think you have Ricky. It's just really hard to navigate all this. You don't have Ricky. But like, I would rather, if I can pivot straight up from George Pickens to Ricky Pearsall, I would do it. Brandon Ayuk, I would do it.
Sure.
Those are some names really quick. Even if you could potentially get, now you can't get Matthew Golden for George Pickens. I highly doubt
think
it.
you can.
You can? Oh,
100%.
wow. Well, then I'm 100% doing that. Those are some quick names that. Yeah, those are some quick names I will go ahead and pivot off of.
It's a start what?
To go out. A start 9.
Okay, so you're starting Herbert, Achane, Bucky, Jefferson, Marvin, Kincaid, then T-Mac, Olave, Pickens, or Hubbard instead of one of those names. That's already an incredibly strong lineup. I don't really want to move any of the players on your team, to be honest with you. We've been teamed by Bucky. We've both been teamed by Chuba. Olave, we don't want to sell, neither with Jefferson, Marvin. I would rather just use these first that you have to build out the rest of your roster. Who is Bretta Josh? Because are they a good team or a bad team? They are the worst team. Okay, so that is actually one of your most important untouchables. The 26th first from Brada Josh. Let's say, do not move this pick. It looks like a potential 101 in 2026. But let's do the 26th first. Your own. We can move that. And in an ideal world, we find a tight end. There's no tight end premium. So we'll keep that in mind. But let's have a look. Does anyone have an excess at tight end in your league? Let's have a gaze, shall we? This guy has Bowers and McBride. Nice.
Well, there you go.
That's
He's
funny.
Pretty short on. Just trying to find this guy's
Can we
team.
See? A single first isn't going to be enough.
I mean, he's pretty short on. Can I send this guy? Oh no, you can't do it. Ow. I was gonna say, can you send this guy George Pickens a first and then see what you can get? Kickback.
Yeah, look, I mean, maybe you can get Trey McBride for that package, your first and Pickens, but then you will have a little bit of a weaker depth at the running back or the wide receiver spot.
At the wide receiver position. Yeah, that's why I was hoping for a kickback, but he doesn't have one, unfortunately. Even if a young wide receiver, not a young wide receiver, but hell yeah. If it was like a Josh Downs or a Jordan Addison or a Jaden Reed, I would have been like, okay. But he doesn't have any of that, unfortunately.
Not as in love with that. What about like Hawkinson and we try and upgrade somewhere, like we send Olave away for JSN. So R26 first. I think this is a way better idea. Plus Olave for JSN plus TJ Hawkinson. It's a non-tight end premium, so keep that in mind. But I like that idea a lot. But Aki, you probably prefer to make that Pickens. I guess it depends on the owner, if they're open to that or not. Maybe you could go even further and send. Would you send T-Mac away to get Amon-Ra or Puka?
Yeah, I would.
So that might be like the step further. Instead of JSN, we get Amon-Ra St. Brown or Puka Nacua. I don't think Puka is realistic, but I think Amon-Ra is probably doable. So that solves your tight end spot a little bit for you. Let's see. That guy only has Andrews. Just looking at his running back room, we could also afford to do like a... No, never mind. That's a bad idea. Who else has tight ends that are worthwhile? Kittle, Ingram, Laporta, Taylor. You're a little bit limited with the way the tight ends are distributed in this league.
What's the waiver wire looking like?
That's a good question. On the waiver wire, Gadsden is worth picking up. I like Gadsden.
Yeah, there's not much there. I mean, look, I'm still a believer of like Dalton Kincaid can be, like, he's not going to be a top 5 tight end, but he can definitely be relevant. So I think Mike Gesicki is also a guy that you can plug and play depending on weeks and matchups as we get closer and closer to the season and understand, or as we get deeper into the season and understand, those matchup based games. But
yeah, look,
I would say like
there's not as much flexibility with this league to kind of figure out the tight end position, but I think Badaki's right in the sense of you actually don't need to make a single move. I definitely wouldn't sell that first from Brada Jush because that looks like an incredible pick. But if you want to move your first to build out the rest of this roster, I have no problem doing that. Don't even mind the idea of like doing a, this is a little bit out there, but what would happen if we did like our first plus Justin Herbert and we went out and we got Jaden Daniels plus something? Like, what is that plus? Let me see who has Jaden Daniels real fast. So they have like a T. Higgins, maybe. They have a Kittle as well. So could we do Daniels plus T. Higgins? That's probably a little bit imbalanced, right?
I had George Pickens in there. So you send
Okay,
Justin
yeah,
Herbert,
I like that.
first George Pickens, Jaden, then you get Jaden Daniels and T. 100%.
Maybe you can add Kittle. If you can't do that, then maybe this is one quarterback. Yeah, so keep in mind quarterbacks aren't as valuable. Definitely possible to move for Daniels, but if you can't, if you need to add Kincaid, you can add Kincaid. It's a big boy trade, but definitely worth having a look at. You get nothing on, guys. This is a 1 quarterback league. All right, it's a 1 quarterback league. You can't sell Jaden Daniels for Justin Herbert and a first in a 1 quarterback league.
He ain't no Kyler Murray, I'll tell you, but I mean, you can definitely get.
We're not talking super flex values here, y'all. Yeah, I think those are my main ideas, though.
Yeah, I like these moves personally. Once again, you really don't have to make any moves, but we appreciate you here at Fantasyland there. Nick, please let us know if you have any questions. I don't think you're in the chat with us, but that's okay. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours in the Flock Fantasy message system with everything that we drew up here for you today, man. But appreciate you.
Yes, appreciate you big time, my friend. Okay, let's see. All right. Yeah. Nick, if you're with us, I haven't seen Nick in the chat, but yeah, but we appreciate you, man. Thanks for letting us review that squad. And I'm also going to remove your team from the My Teams feature here. Okay, cool. And we should be good to go. Now you can actually go add that in your My Teams tab if you wanted, by the way. I might have gotten rid of the wrong league. Let's try this again.
How you doing, Sonny? Because even though I'm domain, can I still get a blueprint? Yeah, so ours is a team playbook. We like to call it. You can purchase that on the a la carte. If obviously you use the promo code, you already have the promo code domain, but you can do that with us, and I'll even give you.
I sent it, but you just go team review. Okay. You link whatever team you want, and then you can get one a la carte with us. Zach
yeah, so ours, we have 2 different ones. Ours is an offline one or a live playbook where we review yours a little bit more in depth and give you, like you kind of already seen there, some trade options there with your team playbook.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate
you. You can choose the offline if you prefer, or you can upgrade to the live one if you want it shown on the live stream. But yeah, my friend, definitely possible to get both. All right. Let's have a look at where we are right now on the stream. I know we've had a couple people submit. Let me just refresh here. Jay Swoosh is still offline. But Sparrow and okay, we have 2 Sparrows. Do you want to do those 2 to end?
Sure. We can do the 2 to end, or I don't know if you have anything else you need to do, but we can definitely do that.
But yeah, I will say it is still a great time to submit your team playbook, customized game plan for your offseason. You'll get that from Badaki and myself when you become a promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. It's very important that you note that if you want it shown on the stream, you got to move that slider up to the live tier. It's only a $7 upgrade for annual members, $10 upgrade for non-annual members. But you can check out the link in the chat that I just put there to our link tree. Let's go Sparrow here. And appreciate you for being an annual member, Sparrow. And let's have a geese, shall we?
Yeah, let's have a geese. Sparrow, you know what it is. You know how to get in contact with us, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's have a look at this first team here. This is a 2 quarterback, 12 team start, 10. So for us, that is a middle ground. I'll put that in the chat there for you guys. And he says, full transparency, I traded my 25 first in the startup along with my 4th and 6th in the startup for the 103 to take CJ Stroud. Ended up not making the playoffs and giving them the 103. I'm assuming due to quarterbacks and wide receivers, but not much at running back and only Brenton Strays at tight end. Should I compete or punt for a year? And obviously, Sparrow, your name's El Selamo, which, oddly enough, you are ranked first out of 12.
You are ranked first.
So let's have a look at this team here. Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, great quarterback room. Tyrone Tracy, Javonte Williams, Isaac Correndo. So you are short at the running back position, and Tyrone Tracy there not helping you, unfortunately. You can start up to 5 wide receivers in the middle ground format. We like to get a prioritized wide receivers, as you know. Neighbors, Thomas, Harrison, Golden, Ricky are your starting 5. You can also have Shakira, Jawan, Kyle Williams there as well with Brenton Strange. Look,
how is this one ranked first? I mean, there's a lot of holes on this roster. I guess it's just really strong at wide receiver and quarterback. So the overall value is probably, lifting the team a little bit.
Yeah, look, I don't think this team is terrible. Maybe I have my what's the word?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Ambitious? Is it ambitious?
Okay.
Or ambitious goggles on right now?
Right.
Because I do think you could potentially compete, even like.
Well, your starting lineup is Burrow, Nix, Tracy, Javonte, I guess, Neighbors, Thomas, Strange. Then we're gonna start Marvin, Matthew, Golden, Ricky Pearsall. Then you have Shakir and Jennings on your bench, Kyle Williams. I think we could afford to see. I don't think you can tear down from CJ Stroud, but we could probably. I really don't want to tear down from Burrow, but I think he's the one that lets us maybe build out the rest of this roster. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you.
I don't know,
where
I actually don't mind going from a Stroud to like a Dak.
What? Okay.
Anyway, we can explore that in a second.
That's kind of where I was going. Like you can do Stroud or JJ, Stroud or Trevor, Stroud or Young, Stroud or Golf.
Yeah. Well, why don't we give this a team grade? I will put this more like a B. This feels more B flat than anything.
I'll say B flat.
I
will put this as a sleeper.
Yeah, I like that sleeper pathway here.
Untouchables here: Malik Neighbors, Brian.
Actually,
Thomas,
I think the moves that we're going to suggest would put it into a strong contend, though.
Sure. Either way, it's fine. So let's put contend. Contender: Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Joe Burrow are your untouchables. Your holds are the Ricky Pearsalls, are the Isaac Correndos, and you have a bunch of drops that you can go ahead.
Tony Wilson, Will Shipley, Luke McCaffrey, you can hold DeAndre if you wanted. Cade Stover if you want. You don't have to drop any of them because your rookie draft is already done. I definitely want to roster De'Ami Brown over the likes of McCaffrey, Johnny Wilson. Yeah, but your waiver wire is pretty dead, to be fair. Okay, should we... Is there anything else we need to talk about, or do we go to the chalkboard now?
Yeah, draft capital just put at a B as well, since you have that, but that should be all good.
Okay, so you had a pretty decent draft. You know, I guess Golden was the main player you walked away with. That would have been your highest drafted name. I like Kyle Williams, obviously. Like Woody Marks. There's no guarantee that those guys make an impact on the roster or not. I will put this more as like a C+. There's no one that we can point to that, you know, we are 100% certain is going to help us from day one, but I think Golden was a great value. You said you got him at the 203. That actually makes me lean more like a B- because I really like that value. Post waiver wire, De'Ami Brown is interesting. I'm not really that interested in these other names. Deontay Thornton Jr., I definitely think those might be the two names I would point to. All right, so let's try and move CJ Stroud first. So I'd like to go Dak Prescott and get a plus on top of it. So let's see who has Dak Prescott. So Dak is owned by the team 10 there. Dak and Goff would be great. And we are wanting to add running back desperately. The good news is they have running back. They have a ton of running back strength. I think maybe you could end up with a Caleb or a James Cook.
Yeah, exactly. James is probably exactly what I want to do there. Give me Jimmy.
I don't think you can get more than that, though. Like Dak and Cook or Dak and Caleb. Like, I don't think you can end up with Dak and Bucky. I guess there's no harm in trying, but I think that's kind of maxing out the possibilities. Now, you could also try and do like a Caleb and an Evan Ingram. Kind of have Evan Ingram thrown in there. That also might be possible. Maybe you can do the same thing, but instead of Caleb, you know, see if James Cook is a possibility. You could always add a 26 second onto this if you needed to get it through for the James Cook side. For Caleb, maybe it's a third that it costs on top. So that would be actually an incredible team to make a deal with. And I would say that all these trades are interchangeable with Goff as well. Like, I don't care which one they give us. We'd be happy with either. That's actually a fantastic team to do a deal with. Let's keep looking. Let's sort by running back strength. And this team that has like Jones as our RB5, could you do a Justin Fields, Ken Walker and something?
Yeah. Chase Brown. Downtown.
Justin Fields. I like Chase Brown as well. That's fine. Let's say Fields, Walker, and a first. And then you can send Stroud plus... what, like, let's say Javonte, I don't know. Braylon Allen, Travis Etienne, maybe?
Yeah, something along those lines.
I don't know. See how far you can stretch that. I don't mind doing that with Chase Brown either.
Yeah, just to give you another, like, light at the end of the tunnel there, Sparrow, as well. Not saying that it's going to happen, but, like, I think they're going to give Etienne and Bigsby a chance. I could be wrong. So you could potentially have Etienne and or who was your other running back here? Completely forgot who your other running back was. Etienne and Javonte.
Yeah.
But doesn't
Tracy
mean it's
probably
change your
starts
team.
off as a starter.
Yeah, and then it dwindles down. I think it's gonna be more 50-50 towards the end of the season. But yes, I think he starts off as a starter.
We could go Ward Kyron. I have no problem with that idea either. Maybe you have to send a second to do that. I don't know. In 26 we can do that. I'd love to grab George Kittle here. Like, what about the idea of Stroud in a first for Ward, Kyron, and Kittle?
Stroud in the first for Ward, Kyron, and Kittle. Yeah.
So that's a possibility too. I don't mind going down to Tua if it's worth it. Like if we did like a Tua, Taylor, Warren. I don't know if that's possible though. Is there any premium here? 0.5. Yeah, that might make it harder. Tua tags. Who did I say? Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren. Maybe you try and send that 26 second to get that done. Tags. Everyone wants to move on from tags right now. So
yeah, they do. When you were about to take over.
Bryce Young. I don't know. Bryce Young won't work really. I don't mind Jackson Dart. So like a Dart.
You should be able to get more. You can get
Dart Rice Loveland.
Yeah, Dart. Yeah, exactly. That I would do that. I just have a feeling, I have one of those feelings that Zach had earlier. I just want to make sure it's the exact same feeling.
You could then flip Rice into a running back, right, in season, or one of your other wide receivers into a running back, right? So I know it doesn't accomplish the running back, but it's kind of, in a way, helping you get there. Yeah, I think those are your main options, though.
Yeah, man. Let us know if you have any questions, Sparrow, and jump in any time. Obviously, you know once again how to contact us. I don't really want to move off of Burrow or Nix. That's why I went Stroud. So I would hardcore be trying to do the Stroud move. But yeah,
worst case scenario, you can start thinking about a Burrow, and tearing down to like a Brock Purdy plus a Achane plus a starting tight end, something like that. But right now, I would prefer to go the Stroud route.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in Brenton Strange. So I think even if you didn't want to get another tight end, and just focus on running back, I think that's totally fine there. But we appreciate you. Let's get straight into the next one here. Obviously,
I was gonna say if Sparrow, I don't see Sparrow in the chat right now. Maybe we can do his next one as the first live tomorrow.
Sure.
Because he'll be the first live unless one of these people who are offline upgrade. Oh, he is here. Sparrow, are you open to doing this one tomorrow? If you're like, oh, I really wanted it done tonight, we can make it happen, but let me know. Let me know.
Yeah, you'll be the first one on the live stream tomorrow, I think.
Sonny says, I will get one when I get paid. Just enjoying the stream for now. No worries there.
Hey, appreciate you, Sonny.
What's up, Ricky? Ricky, in terms of a startup, 7th or 8th rounds. It depends if it's one quarterback or super flex. Super flex maybe a little later. Sparrow says, I'd rather today. Going to be at the movie store. All right, let's do Sparrows here then. All right, last one of the stream. I appreciate you, Sparrow. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support as always, my friend. And it's a 12-team start 10 full PPR, Badaki. And we already have a playbook offline here, or chalkboard rather. Sorry. Why don't you read the context for us?
12 team start 10. Once again, another middle ground here. Keep that in mind.
He's already done his rookie draft as well, but go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Let me just make sure I pulled up the right team. All right. He said went full rebuild, and these are the trades I made: Hawk, Tracy, and Pollard for 26 and 27 first. I like that trade. Jonnu, Jones, a 204 and a 304 for the 203, 209, 212, and a 23rd. Okay, I like that trade as well. And then you did the 212 and a 26 third for Jerry Judy, which I like as well.
Like it.
You did Tua, White, I'm assuming Rashad White, the 104 and the 26 fourth. Then you got Tracy back. You got the 107, 108.
I like it.
And a 27 second. Lastly,
basically
108.
Cam Ward there or someone equivalent in value.
Yeah. Lastly, 108 and a 209 for Rice. Is that a Jalen McMillan?
I'm assuming
Jalen. The 412. Yeah. any other moves I should make. Okay, well, let's have a look at this team.
Full point premium, by the way. Important to note that. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. We're ranked 7 out of 12, and this is a super flex league. Let's have a look at your team here. JJ, Sam Howell, no QB2 to speak of, which is totally fine. At the running back position, Judkins, Benson, Tracy, JK. So you don't really have an RB2 outside of Tracy until, once again, we believe he's going to then be 50-50, at least I do. At the wide receiver position, Jefferson, Rice, Golden, Pearsall, Judy, and it looks like that was Jalen McMillan there. I think your starting 5 wide receivers are decent. A lot of rookies you're leaning on, and Ricky Pearsall taking the next step with Brenton Strange. So similar players, similar people here. Let's get straight into some admin. Let's not waste any time.
Yeah, you can't compete with Sam Howell as your quarterback 2 and relying on McCarthy as your quarterback 1. This feels very much like a one-year punt to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You have we're expecting JJ to take the next step. We can't 100% rely on him. He's more of a quarterback 3 right now than a quarterback 2, but has a ton of upside. We don't have a starting RB2 right now that we can rely on. Yeah, there's just a lot of holes still on this roster. So we're gonna commit to a one-year punt here, I think. Overall team grade, I would probably put this around like a B- at the moment. Now, you have 2 firsts and 26. You have 2 firsts and 27, as well as additional seconds. I like the draft capital. I would probably put it more as like an A- for the draft capital. Untouchables would be Jefferson and your future firsts. Not opposed to selling Jefferson, honestly, though. And then as far as holds, I love Ricky as a hold. Trey Benson's a great hold. Brenton Strange, JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Drops, we can move on from Quentin Johnston, should we choose to. I don't think we need to roster Adam Thielen or Antoine Wells, Juice, or even Eckler if you don't want to, but you can hold on to those guys should you choose to, right? But those are your main. Is there any admin stuff that I missed?
That's everything.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. Pretty decent rookie draft here. You add a starting running back in Quinshawn Judkins, and then you got Matthew Golden at a pretty good value. I'd probably actually say B flat with how late you got Matthew Golden. Those are probably the 2 names that would highlight this class for you in this league. The waiver wire, pretty naked, honestly. There's not really anyone on the waiver wire that entices me a lot, so we won't focus too much on that in this review. I definitely think we can look at tearing down from Justin Jefferson in a one-year punt. You do not have to, but if the right offer's out there. Jerry Jeudy, I'm open to selling him, to be honest, in a one-year punt.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't really see Jerry Jeudy.
I don't see another obvious sell. Sorry. We can maybe look at selling Tracy in season, but sorry, go ahead.
No, I said I sold Jerry Jeudy. I'm in rookie drafts earlier this year for like the 203 to that 205 range. I've gotten like the Luther Burdens or the Cams, the Trays, the Jack Best for the Jerry Jeudy, just resetting the clock there for me. So that's even though you already did your draft, but yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, right. So getting a little younger, Jaden Higgins, Burden, you said Besh, that kind of range, Harris. You could also look at like potentially 2 future seconds, right? Ideally not from a contender. But you could also look to sell him in season because there's a chance that he has another incredible year. And in the right situation, you could get a first. But it's unlikely that is the outcome. Tracy, look, any first in any year, if he comes out and he's a starter for this team and it looks like Cam is a nothing burger, I think over the course of the season, we could see Cam take a larger workload. But you could also look to try and flip him into like a Bashul Tootin. You could look to, if you could flip him into like a Cam Scattaboo maybe. You could flip him into like a Jaden Blue plus a second, and you send Tyrone Tracy and like a 4th, considering you're a true rebuild. But worst case scenario, maybe multiple seconds. And again, actually, I don't think you need to really focus on who it's from because that's already pretty close in value. I think the other idea, there's not many players that you need to move on this team. You've pretty much clearly defined the role of this team moving forward. But if you wanted to move off Justin Jefferson, that would probably give you more firepower in a rebuild. When I look at options to tier down from Justin Jefferson too, it would be Nico, London, JSN, Ladd, Marvin. You know, that's the kind of range I would say. Nico Collins, Drake London, Ladd McConkey, JSN, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think those are the names that you do it with. You don't want to go down too far, but you obviously want to get some realistic value in return. So why don't we look at the Collins owner first here?
Yeah, trying to find them.
They are Team 4, Howie's Hitmen. And this would be like a Nico. They don't have many young players.
They don't have much young players.
It has to be like Nico in what, 2 firsts or something?
Something like that.
That might be asking too much. I don't know.
This is a quarterback. What's his quarterback position like? Maybe can it be Nico Kyler?
Well, yeah, it could be.
That's where my mind goes.
What if we can't get the 2 future firsts straight up? What if we offer like a Tyrone Tracy in the deal to get the 2 future firsts?
Sure.
So that's an idea. Let's keep exploring. How about London next?
Jersey. So I see Ladd and JSN. They're both on the same team. Sorry if that makes it easier. Team 5, I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Comfortably.
This would be.
And Marvin is actually on the same team. They're all on the same team actually.
Yeah, I mean this would be pretty much the same idea. 2 future firsts.
Yeah, 2 future first. Get one of those wide receivers, Marvin, Ladd, or JSN. No quarterbacks I really want to target here.
So it's actually any of these names here.
Yeah, exactly. Any of those names for that.
Any of them we would take and give, take Jefferson in the future firsts, 2 future firsts. Again, that's just going to give you a little bit more flexibility to spark that rebuild. Now, the London owner is the only other name I'm really wanting to tier down to.
Let's see. London, Joe.
Yeah. I don't even like this team's picks in the future that much, to be honest. But
yeah, there's not much here. He just added Ashton Genty.
I don't think London's really going to work for you, unfortunately. But the Collins deal, the London, the Ladd, Jason, Marvin deal, those are all great options too. But there's not really another name I really want to tier down to. I don't think you can really tier down to Brian or Neighbors and get much. Same with Puka. I just don't think you have much power.
Yeah.
In a deal like that. Yeah, I think those would be my main ideas here.
Yes, bro. Let me know. He says thoughts on 26 and 27 picks I got from the other owners.
Yeah, I noticed that it was Inter Valhalla, right? Yeah, so that looks like a pretty good chance that these picks are valuable. He's relying on T-Mac as his wide receiver 1. We all know that these names could fall apart at any single time. Like literally, all of the names I'm highlighting here, between McCaffrey, Pollard, McLaurin, Tyreek, Evans, Ingram, Andrews, those could all fall apart at any moment. I think the 26 picks have a chance to be more of mid to late, but that 27 pick could be very, very valuable. Imagine another offseason removed with Terry, Tyreek, Mike Evans, all those names. Like, we're already asking questions about their longevity. I think that could really set you up in 2027 big time.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, Sparrow. Let us know if you have any last minute questions. Once again, you know how to get in contact with us. You've done this so many times, and we really appreciate the support.
100%.
As always, you should be receiving your playbook here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Everything customized to your team. But appreciate you, Sparrow, man. Thank you so much there.
Oops.
I don't even think they can hear me. Maybe I don't.
No, they can hear you. They can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let us know if you have any final questions or Sparrow. He says, I'm all set. Appreciate you. And what movie are you going to see tomorrow? That's my question. Hopefully Mission Impossible. It was incredible. What's up, Brizzleton? Welcome in, my friend.
It was incredible.
Shout out to Mission Impossible. I'm gonna miss you. It's the last one, so definitely go see it.
That's what they say about a lot of those movies, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, guys, that is it for today. I appreciate y'all big time. Thanks for being here, showing some love. It's a great time to get your team playbook in, because now if you get the live version, you'll be at the top of the queue. For everyone who has the offline playbooks, I'll be looking at those tomorrow. So hopefully we can get those to you before the weekend. But that is it for today. We're signing off. Nothing but love, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for a real rookie draft. The only other thing I'd like to say quickly is we did release our first redraft video yesterday, and couldn't be more thrilled with the response. Very excited for redraft this year. And if you haven't watched our first redraft video yet on the Dynasty channel, I'll spam it in the chat here. You can go check that out. But redraft video on the redraft channel. Sorry. That is it for today, guys. See you later.
Love.